Chapter 260. Brother, are we really going to leave just like that? After leaving the hospital, Chung Ijia asked reluctantly. Idiot, of course not. D Gang sneered. If we can't take the stairs, we'll go to the rooftop. Although that man in green is powerful, he can't split himself up. Brother, you're really good. Chung Ijia smiled when he heard that. I don't know where that Li Fan found such an expert to protect him, but no matter how powerful that expert is, he can't be omnipotent. Yeah, that's the logic. Let's go. As D Gang said that, he used his qinggong and immediately jumped to the balcony of the hospital's second floor. Chung Ijia followed suit and jumped to the rooftop. Although the 2Zs was not amazing, it was still a small achievement. The height of the 5th floor was only a few jumps, and they had already jumped up. Haha, this time Li Fan is dead. Chung Ijia reached the rooftop first, but before he could rejoice, a hand had already grabbed the top of his head. Lie down for this Taoist. A handsome man in white stood there, and his hand seemed to have a suction force, instantly pulled Chung Ijia's head, and then fiercely threw him to the ground. Before Chung Ijia could understand, he was already dizzy from the fall, and smoke was coming out of his 7 orifices. Brother, be careful. He only had time to shout, but D Gang had already jumped up and bumped into the handsome man in front of him. Seeing the man's face, D Gang instantly collapsed. The eldest disciple of Wudong, Yin Kai. Another one. Good. Yin Kai laughed loudly, stretched out his hands, and placed them on D Gang and Chung Ijia, who had just gotten up. Tai Chi Force, Yin and Yang Reversal. Yin Kai's hands crossed, and the two's heads collided with each other, directly colliding into each other. Both of their heads were broken, and blood splattered everywhere. Chung Ijia fell on his butt, and this time he simply did not get up. D Gang shook his head, took 2 steps back, covered his wound, and looked at Yin Kai in shock. You? Why are you here? There was a strong man who was good at using a broadsword in the stairwell, and there was actually a Wudong disciple here. Damn it. How could a mere hospital become a dragon's lair and a tiger's den? I'm bored tonight. 2 warriors, why don't you come and play? Yin Kai crooked his finger at D Gang, causing D Gang to turn pale with fright. Rumor has it that this Yin Kai has a homosexual fetish. Could it be true? Looking at his current lascivious appearance, it was really hard to deny these words. It seems that the 2 of you are quite skilled. Let me have a deeper exchange with you. As Yin Kai spoke, his left hand began to unbuckle his belt. Let this Taoist grandpa reveal his big sword and spend a passionate night with you. Oh my God, let's run. Even D Gang was afraid. This Yin Kai's skill was formidable, and he also had a long yang fetish. If he managed to subdue or kill him, it would be fine. At most, he would be a good man again after 20 years. But what could he do if he wanted to play with his ass? His wisdom in that life would be ruined. D Gang turned around and ran. Chung Ijia also stopped lying down. It was dangerous to play dead. Brother, wait for me, brother. The 2 of them, one after the other, jumped down from the building. Strange. Yin Kai was puzzled. We haven't officially competed yet. How could these 2 run so fast? Yin Kai couldn't figure it out, while D Gang and the others were scared out of their wits. The 2 ran downstairs, gasping for breath, and began to study this matter. Li Fan, this kid is too mean. D Gang angrily said. Not only did he find a saber player, but he also found a butthole player. This is the first time in my life to see such a strange lineup. Brother, what should we do? Should we retreat? Chung Ijia somewhat apprehensively said. I'm a little afraid. What are you afraid of? The more daring you are, the more productive you are. D Gang immediately glared at him. What we are doing is dancing on the tip of a knife. This head of ours has long been attached to the waist of our trousers, you know? Brother, don't be attached to the waist of our trousers. Isn't it a bit heavy? Fuck off. Don't talk so much nonsense. D Gang ruthlessly said. I can see that the 2 of us have committed a military taboo. Brother, what is a military taboo? Paranoid. D Gang began to analyze his experience of this failure. Paranoid is the reason for our failure. The 2 of us have considered too much. As the saying goes, the most dangerous place is the safest place. This time, I choose to take the elevator. Brother, you are really brilliant. Chung Ijia admired D-Gang from the bottom of his heart. No wonder he was not as good as D-Gang when he roamed the martial arts world. The two of them discussed and regained their confidence before taking the hospital's elevator to the legendary 5th floor. When the elevator door opened, the two of them were very excited. If only they had taken the elevator earlier, they wouldn't have to suffer so much. Li Fan stayed in room 505. The two of them tiptoed, not making a sound, and quickly approached room 505. Victory is in front of us. D-Gang was secretly excited, and at the same time, he clenched his saber. My beloved saber, tonight you can drink blood. His body slightly trembled as if he could already smell the blood. Shwa. Just when he was about to hum a song, a sword aura suddenly appeared in front of them, cutting in front of their feet. A ravine appeared there, and the two of them abruptly stopped in their tracks, looking forward in shock. A beauty wearing a purple cheongsam stood there, holding an ordinary taiji sword in her hand. The tip of the sword was pointed at them. Seeing this beauty's face, D-Gang's heart almost stopped. Damn! Isn't this the chief of the martial arts world, Morongying? Get lost. Morongying only said one sentence, but it scared the two of them out of their wits. D-Gang couldn't care about anything else. He lifted his feet and ran, breaking the window of the corridor and jumped outside. Chung Ijia at this time also didn't have any brotherly feelings. He scrambled to jump out, wishing his parents could give him a few more legs. The two of them ran wildly in the middle of the night, leaving sparks and lightning along the way. After running for more than 10 kilometers, they finally stopped and squatted on the ground, panting. Brother, what should we do now? Chung Ijia panted as he asked their leader. Brother. D-Gang touched his wildly beating chest, and then said with a sobbing tone, Brother has thought it through. Brother will retire from the underworld. Why brother? Because the underworld is too scary. Brother can't stand it anymore. Brother, if you want, you can go kill that kid yourself. Brother is going back to my hometown to farm. Don't go, brother. Take me with you. Let's go together. Chung Ijia quickly chased after him. The two killers left a long, lonely shadow in the night. Chapter 261. Li Fan had a good night's sleep. He didn't know why, but he slept especially soundly. It was rare that he didn't even have a dream. But this happy day didn't last long. Just as the sky brightened, someone carrying a small school bag walked into his ward. Li Fan, why are you always injured? Lin Yuhsin walked in and put the comforting gifts on Li Fan's bedside table. Is your luck not too good? Why don't you go to the temple and burn some incense? Lin Yuhsin said seriously. Comrade Lin, aren't you a firm believer in science? Why are you talking about superstition? Li Fan was moving his arm. Hearing Lin Yuhsin teasing him, he immediately smiled and asked, This is the concern from the organization. Lin Yuhsin sat on the bedside of Li Fan. She took out her school bag and said, The organization thinks that Comrade Li is brave and strong, but lacks faith. Therefore, we want to cultivate Comrade Li's faith first, and then cultivate Comrade Li's unyielding fighting spirit. You want to send me to the battlefield. As the saying goes, the examination room is like a battlefield. Lin Yuhsin winked at Li Fan. During your vacation, the second weekly exam is coming. Although the school approved your vacation, there is a condition. That is, you have to attend the weekly exam as usual. If you fall to the last place, you will be expelled. Fuck, the school is too hard on me. Li Fan wanted to curse. This is called the arm can't twist the thigh. Don't you know this sentence? Lin Yuhsin reminded Li Fan. You brought this upon yourself? Who can you blame? I told you not to go against the school, but you didn't listen. Look, now it's okay. The school has locked their target on you. Most of the damage output is concentrated on you. I think so too. Li Fan was also a little depressed. This bunch of people in school, every day, instead of thinking about how to make the students happier, they're only thinking about how to mess with me. That's not entirely true. Doesn't the school place a lot of emphasis on students' grades nowadays? Lin Yuhsin even defended the school. Bah, that's called attaching importance to results? They only cared about the enrollment rate. After all, for a school, enrollment rate is money. Li Fan sat on the sickbed and spoke with fervor and assurance. I believe that the essence of a school is how to cultivate an outstanding student. This excellence was not in terms of results, but in terms of character. Moreover, what the school needed to do was to care about the healthy growth of a student's heart, and not just how to improve their scores. In my heart, school is a place to teach and educate people. But as you can see, this so-called school of ours only does teaching. It doesn't have any achievements in the field of educating people. Why are you talking so much? You still have to go to school. Lin Yusen rolled her eyes at Li Fan. Don't tell me you want to drop out of school? That's not possible. After all, school is a place to broaden one's horizons, and one can make a lot of friends there, especially a university. It's a very good platform. Li Fan felt a little motivated when he thought of his future in university. But I don't agree with the previous education methods. That's enough. Stop sighing over there. Lin Yuhsin felt that she could not stand Li Fan anymore. This guy always has some fantasies. You're not the director of the Ministry of Education. Why can't you make up for it? Of course, I will make up for it. Li Fan admitted defeat. But don't you have lessons today? It's okay. I have finished the high school curriculum by myself. Lin Yuhsin waved her hand indifferently. The teacher's lecture is also boring. I can't learn faster than myself. Li Fan was speechless. This woman, just because she has a high IQ, she can be so amazing. All right, let's review your math first. Lin Yuhsin was very serious during the lecture. Li Fan had no choice but to be serious as well. The two of them started with math and went all the way to geography. Her lectures were based on test papers. She let Li Fan study through different types of questions. At this moment, the ward door was gently pushed open. Liao Wushuang walked in with a bouquet of flowers in her hands. She looked at the two people in the room. This beautiful teacher had a ponytail, black-rimmed glasses, and was dressed in an OL uniform. There was a sense of temptation in the uniform, causing Li Fan to involuntarily think of the scene in the action blockbuster of the island nation. His thoughts immediately turned evil. However, Lin Yuhsin didn't have such thoughts. On the contrary, she was a bit angry, but she held it in and said to Liao Wushuang. She looked at Liao Wushuang and said, "Hello, Teacher Liao. Classmate Lin is also here." Liao Wushuang walked in, carefully put the flowers in the vase next to her, and then said, "I heard that you also tutored classmate Li. The relationship between you two is really good." "That's for sure. After all, we are boyfriend and girlfriend." Lin Yuhsin emphasized the word boyfriend and girlfriend. Liao Wushuang blinked her eyes. "Really? I thought it's not so open in China." "Teacher Liao, don't listen to her nonsense. We are just joking around." Li Fan hurriedly explained. "What's wrong with this little girl today? She actually said that the two of them were boyfriend and girlfriend. This was not in line with her usual character." "What are you joking about? Everyone in the family knows about it." Lin Yuhsin reminded Li Fan. "My mom always talks about you. Teacher doesn't object to puppy love, but don't delay each other's studies." Liao Wushuang smiled, bent down, and affectionately asked Li Fan, "Classmate Li, are you feeling better?" Lin Yuhsin looked at the huge weapon that was hanging down, and a thought arose in her mind. Challenge. This is an invisible challenge. Chapter 262. Today, aside from checking on your physical condition, I also want to help you with your English, Liao Wushuang said and took out her handout from her purse. "You missed a lot of English lessons these 2 days. You need to make up for it." "There's no need to trouble Teacher Liao." Lin Yuhsin was like a mother hen protecting her chick. She immediately vigilantly said to Liao Wushuang, "Teacher Liao, how busy are you? Just leave the tutoring to me." "Oh, I know. Classmate Lin's English is indeed very good." Liao Wushuang first praised, "Classmate Lin must be very smart. Your IQ should be very high, right?" "It's okay, just 140. Although Lin Yuhsin said it modestly, but Li Fan said that if this girl had a tail, her tail would be as high as the sky. But I don't really agree with classmate Lin's learning method. But then, Liao Wushuang's next sentence began to attack Lin Yuhsin. "Classmate Lin's learning method is too rigid. It's more like studying for exams. But that's not the case. Learning should be based on interest, not for exams. What teacher Liao said is right. Lin Yuexian clapped her hands, feeling like she agreed with Liao Wushuang. But teacher Liao's method is only useful abroad. In China, it doesn't have any effect. China's sad education system needs to be reformed. Liao Wushuang argued, classmate Lin, you should fight for what's right. How can you just give in like this? Because I'm in this sad system. Lin Yuexian said without hesitation, I'm just a student. I can't jump out. Moreover, Li Fan is also an ordinary student. Teacher Liao, please don't brainwash him. Right now, he's a bit out of touch with reality. How can you say that, classmate Lin? Liao Wushuang gently frowned. Student Li has her own awareness and thoughts, which I, a small English teacher, can't control. I'm not a multi-level marketing organization. How can I brainwash others? I don't know about that. In any case, you have your own methods. I have to say, teacher's way of thinking is really dangerous. Lin Yuexian reminded Liao Wushuang. If you can't change China's education system, then please don't brainwash our students. After all, we still have to go to university. You may think that what I said is useless. I understand. Liao Wushuang nodded and did not get angry. Instead, he gently said, but if every student doesn't have this kind of awareness, how can this deep-rooted wrong thinking be changed? That's not something I should be thinking about. Lin Yuexian shrugged. I just need to be responsible for getting into a good university. Classmate Lin, there's no doubt that you're very smart. Liao Wushuang sighed softly. But you're a little selfish. This is just a student's most normal thought. If you want to adapt to this society, that's the only way. You give in too easily, Liao Wushuang said. Looks like you need to learn more from me. Forget about me. Lin Yuexian repeatedly shook her head. Teacher Liao should continue to teach us. We can do this kind of tutoring by ourselves. My method is more suitable for Li Fan. Liao Wushuang was still firm. Because he used my method, his English score can be the first in the class. What? Li Fan was surprised. I got the first in the class? Yes, even Deng Siwei couldn't beat you. Liao Wushuang winked at Li Fan. You're 5 points higher than him? What the? So awesome. Li Fan was a bit stunned. He just felt that the exam paper that day was somewhat familiar, so he answered it well. Unexpectedly, he got the first in the class? That's because of the type of questions I looked for. Lin Yuexian interrupted Liao Wushuang's words. That day, I looked for some types of questions, and it turned out that my prediction of the type of questions was very accurate. Lin Yuexian's words made Liao Wushuang unable to accept it. Your method of answering questions is not helpful to learning. It's me who cultivated Li Fan's interest in learning English. Otherwise, he would have no desire to learn. That way, he would only be a learning machine, not a real person, understand? Teacher Liao's long-winded speech has always been very popular among the students. Lin Yuexian laughed. But it has no effect on me. I have a firm ideal, firm belief, and will never be brainwashed by teacher. Then how about we do a test? Liao Wushuang suddenly said. Test? What test? Lin Yuexian was puzzled. It's just a simple test to see whose method is more effective on Li Fan. What's the point of this test? Why? You don't dare. Humph, why wouldn't I dare? Let's do it. Lin Yuexian immediately agreed, but she muttered in her heart, why am I able to lead Murong Ying when facing her? But when facing this Liao Wushuang, I'm led by her. This woman is so scary. You too. Shouldn't you respect my opinion? Li Fan felt somewhat helpless. After all, I'm also the person involved, okay? You have no right to comment on this matter. Lin Yuexian glared at Li Fan. After all, it's related to our values and reputation. Liao Wushuang also pushed her glasses. The two women were extremely calm, as if they were having a battle without gunpowder. Fuck, then why do I have a feeling of being a guinea pig? Li Fan was somewhat perturbed. What do you two want to do? A small test. Liao Wushuang said with a smile. In the following time, me and classmate Lin can only speak to you in English and let you guess a few words. Look at the two of us. The one who guesses the most words will have the best method. Fuck, isn't this just you gesturing and I guess? Li Fan heard the general gist of it. Are you sure this method is really effective? It's indeed effective. Lin Yuhsin also agreed with this method. Then let's have a competition, Teacher Liao. The time is 1 minute. See who can guess the most words. My method is absolutely the best. Okay, I agree. Who's first? Liao Wushuang smiled as if victory was already in her grasp. Her confident look made Lin Yuhsin very unhappy. Liao Wushuang was also unhappy. This Lin Yus was so rigid. Moreover, she has been calling herself Li Fan's girlfriend. If I don't teach her a lesson today, she won't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Chapter 263. Since you are a teacher, you naturally have to give in to me, your student. At this time, Lin Yuhsin is not polite at all. She stands in front of Li Fan and looks at the set of words that Liao Wushuang gave her. There are a total of 7 words. Whoever guesses the most correctly will be the winner. The words given by Liao Wushuang are indeed not that difficult, but out of modesty, a teacher deliberately gave in to Lin's. These 2 words, one is Harry Potter, the other is Li Xiaoyao, and the rest are characters from games and novels. Lin Yuhsin uses her clever little brain and uses her fluent English to introduce Harry Potter to Li Fan. But Li Fan is confused. He really doesn't know what this Li Fan and Lin Yuhsin are talking about. Time is limited, and with each passing minute, Lin Yuhsin's heart is getting more and more anxious. She feels like an ant on a hot pan, walking around but can't find a breakthrough point. Li Fan was still foolishly sitting there, staring at him. He actually had a feeling that he wanted to see through the limpid autumn water. Liao Wushuang is counting down. That silver bell-like voice, in Lin Yuhsin's ears, is so ear-piercing. I can't stand it. How can Li Fan be so stupid? Time's up, Liao Wushuang said. Can't guess a single word, fail. Damn it, damn it. Lin Yus angrily stomps her feet. If it were you, you also can't do it. He is too stupid. Hey, is it really okay to say that? The veins on Li Fan's forehead are throbbing. This Lin is too stubborn. Okay, it's my turn. Liao Wushuang walks in front of Li Fan. Her devilish figure makes Li Fan can't help but be a bit infatuated. Lin Yuhsin racked her brains and came up with a set of words. The first one was a difficult word to describe. Wails and cries filled the land. It was followed by a string of idioms, such as the rising of beacons, the trembling of the wind, and the trembling of cranes, and so on. Liao Wushuang smiled and pointed at her chest. This idiom, tolerance is great, Li Fan said immediately. Bingo, you guessed it right. Liao Wushuang's eyes curved into crescent moons. You're so smart. As she spoke, she turned to look at Lin, who was dumbfounded. He guessed one right. You failed. You're cheating. Lin Yuhsin was furious. You're not following the script. How could you start from the last word? I didn't break the rules of the game. You were the one who followed the rules too strictly, so you lost. Liao Wushuang said with a smile, Classmate Lin, a loss is a loss. Don't tell me you don't mean what you said. Humph. Lin Yuhsin was not convinced of her loss. But a bet was a bet. I know. From today on, you'll tutor Li Fan in English, but I'll tutor the other courses. You're not allowed to steal from me. You two have such a good relationship. I'm so envious. Liao Wushuang couldn't help but say, we're boyfriend and girlfriend. Of course it's good. Lin Yus declared her sovereignty all the time, as if she was afraid that Liao Wushuang would seize her power. Then, my little girlfriend, can you leave now? Liao Wushuang unexpectedly asked her to leave, which surprised Lin Yus. Why should I leave? Because the teacher has a habit of doing one-on-one tutoring and doesn't allow outsiders to disturb him. Liao Wushuang reminded Lin Yuhsin. Remember our bet? Damn it. Lin Yuhsin was very depressed, but there was nothing she could do. She packed her bag and walked out in a huff. I'll come again tomorrow. Remember, the other courses are mine. Don't worry. I'll keep my word. Liao Wushuang reassured Lin Yuhsin, but Lin Yuhsin still left unwillingly. After she left, Liao Wushuang looked at Li Fan with a smile that was not a smile. Teacher Liao, why are you looking at me like that? You're making my hair stand on end. Li Fan couldn't help but ask. He was indeed uncomfortable being looked at like that. Although it's a good thing to be looked at by a beauty, after being looked at for a long time, he would feel his hair stand on end. I really didn't expect our classmate Li to be a little Casanova. Liao Wushuang's voice carried a trace of mockery, making Li Fan somewhat unable to bear it. Teacher Liao, you really know how to insult people. Li Fan was very helpless. I don't think so. She's your little girlfriend. That's just the two of us fooling around. Don't take it seriously. Li Fan waved his hand. It's a long story. She's a woman. I can see that. Liao Wushuang opened her lesson plan and said, her feelings for you are very serious. She's just on a whim. Li Fan explained, this woman is a strong woman. She wants to be a qualified psychologist. As for the others, she's just on a whim. This woman is smart and very rational. In this world, there is no woman who is completely rational. Liao Wushuang said, even a rational woman will have an emotional existence in her heart. Once there's a man who can make her heart lose balance, her so-called rationality will be lost. Okay. Our teacher Liao's philosophy class is over. Li Fan was most afraid of Liao Wushuang's philosophy class. He quickly waved his hand and said, let's do some tutoring in English. No problem. Liao Wushuang was not pretentious and immediately entered the teaching state. Because she was in the hospital bed, Liao Wushuang sat next to Li Fan. Because of what happened that day, the relationship between the two has become a lot closer. It was as if some invisible barrier had been unraveled. Liao Wushuang leaned on Li Fan's body and told him today's lesson. Li Fan sniffed the milk while learning. He had to admit that this was a challenge, but to have a beautiful teacher to tutor him, this was a benefit that other boys envied to death. However, wouldn't this be unfair to Bai Linluo? Li Fan's heart was beating like a drum. But on second thought, he decided to leave everything to fate. He didn't want to chase after teacher Liao. If the two of them could be good friends, it would not be bad. By the time Liao Wushuang finished her lesson, the sky was already dark. That's right. Liao Wushuang closed her lesson plan, turned her head, looked at Li Fan very seriously, and said, Li Fan, where do you want to go on a date? The two of them were very close to each other. If they moved a little bit closer, they would be able to kiss. This kind of feeling, even Li Fan couldn't help but blush. This Liao Wushuang, is she a female teacher or a devil? This temptation is definitely not ordinary. At that moment, Li Fan's mind slightly stagnated for a second. Chapter 264. Date. After a second or two, Li Fan reacted. Yes, date. Liao Wushuang nodded seriously. We also had a small bet. Did you forget? Liao Wushuang's words made Li Fan's mind feel like there was a small bug flying along his cranial nerves. After a flash of thought, he suddenly remembered that the two of them made a bet in the car. If Li Fan could get first place in the English test, they would go on a date. At that time, it was really just a casual remark. He didn't expect that he would really get first place. This should really be attributed to Lin Yuhsin's type of questions. When he was doing the questions, he felt that the questions were particularly familiar. Lin Yuhsin's answers were really amazing when used to deal with the exam. Being too close to Liao Wushuang always gave him a feeling of being poisoned. Li Fan subconsciously leaned back a little. He was the first person in history to take the initiative to distance himself from a beautiful woman. That? Teacher Liao, I just said it casually. Please don't take it seriously. Li Fan explained. How can I do that? I must do what I say. Liao Wushuang immediately said, I'm a teacher, and as a teacher, I must set an example for you. Tell me, where are we going on a date? We have to wait until I'm discharged. That's true. Liao Wushuang nodded. But, in the beginning, a date is a date. It's only limited to the basic relationship between a man and a woman. Although I grew up in a foreign country, I'm still very conservative in some aspects. Especially between us, teacher and student. We can't do that kind of thing. You know. Liao Wushuang, who was very fierce just now, suddenly became shy. This aroused Li Fan's desire to flirt with a girl. What kind of thing, teacher Liao? He pretended not to understand and asked Liao Wushuang. That, that kind of thing. Liao Wushuang also didn't know how to explain, but Li Fan seemed to be more confused. Teacher, if you don't say it clearly, how can I guess? Li Fan was very puzzled. Teacher, please dispel my doubts. It's this matter. Liao Wushuang stretched out her 2 hands. One hand formed a ring, and the fingers of the other hand twitched in the ring. Black lines appeared on Li Fan's face. Damn, Teacher Liao, you are too explosive. If you make this gesture, you might as well say it out loud. How awkward. Liao Wushuang also seemed to feel that her work might be a little inappropriate. She withdrew her hand in a panic and asked, Do you understand now? What do you know? Teacher Liao, is your finger hurt? Li Fan decided to continue playing dumb. Didn't Liao Wushuang have a lot of Western-style advanced thinking? Didn't he just confidently say that Yu Rong was the greatest? Why did he admit defeat now? Liao Wushuang didn't know if Li Fan really didn't know, or if he was pretending. But looking at his innocent expression, it was as if he really didn't know. It's sex. Liao Wushuang finally said this word. My God, Teacher Liao, what are you talking about? Li Fan was greatly surprised. Teacher Liao, in my heart, you have always been a serious and good teacher. But now you actually said such words. Teacher Liao, I am a little boy who has never even seen an adult film. I'm sorry. Liao Wushuang hurriedly apologized to Li Fan. It's teacher's fault. I shouldn't have thought about those things. Teacher Liao, we have a firm teacher-student relationship. These messy things will disturb our hearts and destroy our relationship. This is not good. Li Fan began to preach in a serious manner. Yes, teacher's fault. Liao Wushuang couldn't help but ask, but are we really just teacher and student? Otherwise? Li Fan asked. I think we are still friends. Liao Wushuang blushed and explained. Usually in class, of course, it's teacher and student. But after class, we are friends. After all, teacher is not much older than you, just 2 years older. Huh. Li Fan was really surprised this time. Teacher, you're only 2 years older than me? But you've been studying abroad for so long. I was admitted to college at the age of 16, and then as an exchange student, I studied abroad for 4 years. Liao Wushuang explained, causing Li Fan to have a mental breakdown. The girls he knew were all very smart. This made Li Fan have a feeling of being at the bottom of the food chain, which made him a little uncomfortable. What's wrong? Does teacher look old? Liao Wushuang was a little nervous and gently touched her beautiful face. No, teacher looks like a high school student. Li Fan hurriedly explained, if I didn't introduce you as a teacher, I would have thought you were my junior. You have a sweet mouth. Liao Wushuang covered her mouth and laughed. Her previous worries were swept away. Teacher, how do you know I have a sweet mouth? Did you take advantage of that day when I was sleeping to do something to me? Li Fan nervously looked at Liao Wushuang, but Liao Wushuang secretly pinched Li Fan. Didn't we agree? Don't mention that day's matter again. Okay, it's my fault. Li Fan smiled and said, but it's hard to imagine that a thoughtful person like Teacher Liao would be afraid of thunder. Nonsense, teacher is not afraid of thunder. That day, I was just in a bad mood. Liao Wushuang pretended to be brave and said, what's there to be afraid of thunder? Using a scientific explanation, there's nothing to be afraid of. She said, stood up. Teacher went home. You take care of yourself. This girl, she's getting angry. But just as Liao Wushuang stood up, a loud thunder came from outside. Liao Wushuang's face immediately turned white, and her legs seemed to be a bit weak. Li Fan wanted to laugh. This is too much of a coincidence. That's right. It seems like the preview said that there will be a thunderstorm today. I didn't expect that after not raining for the whole day, it would finally come. Teacher Liao, take care. My body is not convenient, so I won't send you off. Li Fan waved his hand. The hospital's underground parking lot is a bit dark. You have to be careful. Li Fan, I just remembered that I forgot to tell you 2 questions. Liao Wushuang moved over, sat next to Li Fan, and gave him a hollow laugh. As a responsible teacher, I must finish the questions before I leave. If there's thunder all night, you won't leave? Pay. It has nothing to do with thunder. It's a sense of responsibility. a teacher's sense of responsibility. Do you understand? Liao Wushuang emphasized. Chapter 265. He didn't know if it was because of Li Fan's jinx, but the thunder really went on for a whole night. The huge thunder rumbled as if the heavens were enraged, letting out a roar that caused one's heart to palpitate. As a boy, Li Fan felt it was okay. After all, he didn't do anything wrong, so he wasn't afraid of ghosts knocking on the door. No, not afraid of thunder knocking on the door. But Liao Wushuang couldn't. As a girl, she always had her own weakness. She sat next to the bed, shivering, and her face was a little pale. She was very serious when she was teaching, but after a few thunder, Liao Wushuang couldn't concentrate, and her hands were trembling. Li Fan thought that when there was thunder, she must have screamed again and again. It was not easy for her to endure it like this. Teacher Liao, you are shivering like this. Isn't it a little cold? Li Fan suddenly had an idea, grabbed the quilt, put it on Liao Wushuang's back, and then put his arm around her shoulder. Liao Wushuang also seemed to be a little relieved, leaning in Li Fan's arms, and her lips slowly turned a little red. Li Fan was still thinking about whether Morongying was afraid of thunder or not. This emotionless woman, she should not be afraid. For her, thunder should be no different from a child's fart. This strong woman, is there anything in the world that she is afraid of? Hey, why do I think of Morongying when I am with Liao Wushuang? Li Fan gently patted his cheek, dispelling these useless thoughts in his head. Liao Wushuang leaned on Li Fan's shoulder. She was a teacher, but leaning on her student, she felt a sense of security. She was just a high school student, but why did she feel a special sense of security? Liao Wushuang narrowed her eyes, feeling a lot more comfortable. But every time there was thunder, her body would still tremble slightly, like a frightened rabbit, shaking in Li Fan's arms. Li Fan leaned on the bed, closing his eyes to rest. Liao Wushuang was resting, but he couldn't stay idle. He had to seize the time to train himself. The dantian in his body was spinning rapidly. Because he had given half of the Heartless Saber's power, he had to cultivate the rest of the true qi by himself. At this moment, Li Fan's body had a total of 9 acupoints, 5 of which had already been opened. As for the remaining 4, Li Fan still needed to work hard. Li Fan had a pure young body. If he wanted to recover his true qi, it would be very fast. Under the nourishment of his dantian, the missing true qi was quickly replenished. Li Fan was now adjusting the true qi and charging towards the 6th acupoint. If he wanted to reach the pinnacle, he would have to break through the 6th meridian. Li Fan mobilized all of his true qi, and like a marching army, he began to attack the 6th acupoint. Li Fan's 6th meridian point didn't last long, as if it was because he had forcefully channeled a large amount of vital energy into it. The true qi in his body instantly doubled, as if it was a river, surging through his meridians. This situation made Li Fan pleasantly surprised. His 7 heroes force had finally been cultivated to the 6th level. The sound of thunder outside seemed to be clearer. Every time the thunder rumbled, it made Li Fan feel like he was about to ascend. What could it be that in this world there are really immortals ascending? Although he knew that it was impossible, for some reason, Li Fan still had the desire to soar into the sky and become a dragon in one leap. Liao Wushuang fell asleep in his arms, but he stretched out his left hand and made the snake strike technique gesture. According to legend, if a snake cultivated for 10,000 years and crossed the lightning tribulation, it could become a dragon. And with my snake strike technique, can I also become a dragon in one leap? Thinking of this, Li Fan's left hand shook a bit, as if a spirit snake had soared into the sky. At this moment, Li Fan felt his pupils constrict violently, and then his left hand directly stabbed into the wall beside him. The cement wall was like tofu, and it had no defense in front of Li Fan. Li Fan's palm stabbed into it. He was stunned for a moment. Fuck, this is awesome. In the past, Li Fan could also break a wall, but with the strength of his hand, he couldn't achieve such an effect. A person's fingers could also be trained, such as iron palm or diamond finger, which train the strength of the fingers. Including 8 trigram palm, many palm techniques also focused on the hand. Li Fan had seen an expert of 8 trigram palm, and his skills were all focused on his hands and feet. His feet were using 8 trigram perplexing steps, and his hands were looking for opportunities to directly hit the opponent's vital points. It was very ferocious. Li Fan felt that his snake strike technique should imitate this method of 8 trigram palm. The snake strike technique had always been used to defend and counterattack. Moreover, the strength of the point was greater than the surface. His hands' penetrating power was definitely higher than palm techniques or fist techniques. Then could he use the snake strike technique to break the defense of minor phaseless magic? Li Fan fell into deep thought. But at this moment, another loud thunder woke up Liao Wushuang, who was in Li Fan's embrace. She trembled slightly, and Li Fan couldn't help but feel pity for her. "Teacher Liao, you're awake?" That? Liao Wushuang seemed to be a little shy, and her voice was as soft as a mosquito. If not for Li Fan's sharp hearing, he wouldn't have been able to hear her clearly. I want to go to the toilet." "Then go." Li Fan felt it was strange. Isn't it just going to the toilet? What's there to be shy about? Humans have 3 urgent needs. Who doesn't want to go to the toilet? You accompany me." Chapter 266. After hearing the thunder, Liao Wushuang was scared and hid in Li Fan's arms, which made Li Fan hold back his laughter. No matter how strong she looks, she is still a little girl in her heart. Li Fan remembered what Liao Wushuang said before and didn't expect it to be true. Liao Wushuang followed Li Fan closely and almost stuck to him. Finally, she wanted to pull Li Fan into the single room. Li Fan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "Teacher Liao, we can't go to the toilet together, right? Are you willing to show me your butt?" Go to hell." Liao Wushuang also realized this problem. She was a little scared just now and forgot about it. But why is the toilet so dark? What kind of hospital is this? Why is the light so dim? I'll go in. Don't go. Got it? Li Fan wanted to laugh, but he held it back. Liao Wushuang walked into the single room and looked back 3 times. After she went in and locked the door, she couldn't help but ask, "Li Fan, are you still there?" Yes. You really didn't leave?" "I didn't leave." Li Fan was about to collapse. "It's just thunder. Is there a need to be scared like this?" Then wait for me. I can't pee." Maybe because of fear, Liao Wushuang didn't have the urge to pee. "Okay, I'll wait for you. Don't go." "I won't go. Don't worry." Li Fan felt that Liao Wushuang was like a little girl, especially cute. Just when Li Fan was about to take the opportunity to exercise his power, the door of the single room next to the toilet was suddenly pushed open. At that moment, Li Fan thought that the other party was just a person going to the toilet. But immediately he didn't think so, because from the crack of the door, a black barrel was pointed at him. At that moment, all the blood in Li Fan's body seemed to have frozen, giving him a terrifying feeling of chills all over his body. Puff, puff, puff. The opponent fired 3 shots in a row. Because of the silencer, the gunshots were very muffled. Li Fan, on the other hand, had already subconsciously moved away before the man pulled the trigger. He lowered his body and rolled to the side, dodging the 3 bullets. Sparks flew from the back wall, and the tiles on it slid down. A man in a black windbreaker pushed open the door of the single room and walked out. The gun in his hand was once again aimed at Li Fan. This time, the one who came was not some embroidered uniform guard, but a real assassin. Li Fan understood. Without any hesitation, he stretched out his hand and snapped his fingers. The spirit monkey had escaped. The man's vision blurred, and he lost sight of Li Fan. But he was a professional killer, and he seemed to know how to listen to the wind. He immediately turned around and aimed his gun at Li Fan, who was already behind him. Li Fan had already lifted his leg and kicked him in the arm. Although the assassin had a strong body, his gun was still kicked away. He pulled out another gun with his left hand, aimed at Li Fan, and pulled the trigger. Puff, puff, puff. Another 3 shots were fired. Li Fan used the agile monkey steps and dodged a few bullets. Li Fan's heart was beating very fast. His stagnant blood seemed to have erupted at this moment. It was boiling and circulating rapidly in his body. This was the first time he had dodged bullets. The gunman opposite him was obviously an experienced killer. He was vicious and merciless, and there was no hesitation in every shot. Every shot was for Li Fan's life. If it wasn't for Li Fan's agile and bold movements, he would have become a dead soul under the gunman's gun. Li Fan didn't manage to force the guy to retreat. The other party stretched out his hand and caught the falling gun with his right hand. He aimed both guns at Li Fan, and even predicted a few positions and aimed at Li Fan. Li Fan had already used his true chi to simulate his ribs so that he wouldn't have difficulty moving. But at this moment, he was shrouded by a cold aura, and the hair on his body was shivering. Even if he dodged, he would probably be hit by the bullets. The assassin was too terrifying. He even predicted where he would land and sealed all his movements in advance. With a slower vision than a normal person, Li Fan also had more ways to judge. He immediately bounced off the ground, and his whole body floated up and stuck to the ceiling. Pu. A few bullets hit the surroundings, and Li Fan was lucky enough to escape. Li Fan, are you still there? Liao Wushuang's shout came from the single room. When the assassin heard this, he immediately turned the muzzle and aimed at the single room. Li Fan turned pale with fright. This single room's door couldn't block bullets. If it was hit, what would happen? Li Fan didn't hesitate and immediately entered the Toad Strike mode. Devour. Heavens. Toad. With a wave of Li Fan's hand, the two pistols of the assassin immediately tilted to the side, and the assassin's body also turned around. At the same time, he fell from the air and sent out a true Bear King seal. A flash of lightning lit up, and the white light shone into the bathroom, as if it was illuminating the figure of a giant bear. When Li Fan's palm landed on the assassin's body, the assassin was like a kite with a broken string. His body smashed into the glass behind him and fell out. Li Fan immediately followed, but when he looked out of the window, he couldn't find any trace of the assassin. Damn it, he got away. Li Fan was depressed. He was actually plotted against so badly. Li Fan? Li Fan? Liao Wushuang shouted a few more times, and her voice seemed to be trembling. Li Fan quickly answered, I'm here. You? Where did you go just now? Liao Wushuang asked with some lingering fear. I've been here. Then why didn't you answer me? There was thunder just now, so I didn't hear you. Don't tell Liao Wushuang about this matter. However, who is the assassin who came to assassinate me? I have offended too many forces, and I really can't think of any force that would come to deal with me. But no matter which force it is, Li Fan must be careful, lest he encounters such a dangerous thing again. That assassin has been waiting for me in the bathroom for a whole day. If I don't appear, he may continue to wait. This kind of enemy is the most terrible. Finally, the sound of running water came to his ears. Li Fan knew that Liao Wushuang finally peed. When she came out, her face was still red, and she was a bit embarrassed to speak. Li Fan also pretended to be busy and didn't tease this beautiful teacher. The two of them returned to the ward. When the rain stopped, Liao Wushuang went home. Sorry, I failed. That assassin hid in a sewer and knelt down in front of a figure. What a waste. That figure coldly said, Mission failure. You know what the punishment is? Yes. The black-clothed man's eyes were firm. Without any hesitation, he took out a gun, aimed it at his temple, and pulled the trigger. The bullet went through his head, ending his life. Li Fan, consider yourself lucky, but I want to see how long you can live. Chapter 267. For the next few days, no assassins came to harass him. Li Fan also had a rare few days of peace. However, on Friday, an annoying person came to the hospital. Chang Chuanxi stood beside Li Fan and placed the papers in front of him. These are the papers for today's exam. I will be monitoring you throughout the exam. Chang Chuanxi reminded Li Fan, if you dare to cheat, I will kick you out of the school. With such a good teacher like Teacher Chang, how could I bear to leave the school? Li Fan threw a flirtatious look at Chang Chuanxi, which almost made Chang Chuanxi faint. This damned Li Fan. Couldn't he be like a cockroach, trampled to death and kicked out of the school? But he couldn't touch him nor scold him. This kind of student was really evil. Having such a student in the school was the school's biggest misfortune. Chang Chuanxi was the staunchest supporter of the principal's high-pressure policy. He was also a perfectionist. He felt that all dregs should not exist in a sacred place like the school. Let these dregs die and get out of his school. Li Fan, don't be so cheeky with me. Chang Chuanxi scolded. I have been teaching for decades and I have seen too many troublemakers like you. Do you think I am here to accompany you for the exam? I am here to supervise you. I don't believe that a lousy student like you would have such good results. Teacher Chang, even if you are a teacher, please watch your language. Li Fan frowned slightly. What do you mean by lousy student? As a teacher, can you casually comment on your own student? Does that mean I can also call you a lousy teacher in return? The school actually assigned a lousy teacher to supervise me. How unlucky. Li Fan, don't push your luck. Chang Chuanxi had witnessed Li Fan's sharp tongue. He knew that arguing with people like Li Fan would not give him any advantage. If he endured this, one day, he would kick a lousy student like Li Fan out of his class and his school. Here are 4 sets of papers. Language and mathematics in the morning, English comprehensive arts in the afternoon. Letting you rest at noon is the school's special care for you in consideration of your body. The school has already been extremely benevolent to you. Don't go too far. Then I really have to thank the school for coming up with such a plan to chase us students away. Li Fan smiled coldly, which made Chang Chuanxi very uncomfortable. A student like Li Fan was hard to deal with, really hard to deal with. I don't want to argue with you. It's all for your own good. If you don't want to listen, then forget it. One day, you will suffer because of this. Thank you for your concern, Teacher Chang, but I'm already an adult with a relatively complete outlook on life and the world. Li Fan grinned. I know who treats me well and who treats me badly. It's time to start the exam. Please maintain silence in the examination hall. Chang Chuanxi was flustered and exasperated. She tore open the sealed craft paper, took out the test paper inside, and placed it on the folding table above Li Fan's bed. Li Fan took a look. The questions were very difficult. However, Lin Yuhsian had already tutored him, so these questions were not difficult for him. Lin Yuhsian was a smart girl. Although these questions were difficult, they did not escape her prediction range. He didn't know how her brain worked, but the range of questions for every exam was always within her prediction range. Li Fan felt that this lass might be the reincarnation of a vixen. She was too scheming. Fortunately, she did not scheme against him. Otherwise, with his intelligence, he would really be betrayed by her and have to count the money for her. Li Fan answered the questions in order. Seeing Li Fan's correct rate, Chang Chuanxi frowned deeply. After teaching for so many years, this was the first time he was troubled by a student's results. What was wrong with this student? He was clearly a bad student in the past, but recently, he heard that Lin Yuhsian had been tutoring him, even skipping classes to tutor him. Chang Chuanxi had specially looked for Lin Yuhsian's class teacher, but the class teacher of the experimental class was also very powerful. He only said that Lin Yuhsian could do whatever she wanted to do, and he had no control over it. The teachers of the other classes also had no control over it. Bastard! How could a teacher be like this? Even if he was the top student in the grade, he should not be so conniving. But he heard that Lin Yuhsian had already obtained the recommendation to enter Tsinghua University. It was really difficult for a sophomore to obtain the recommendation. It could not be helped. Lin Yuhsian was a girl who had always been the champion of the National Mathematics Olympiad since junior high. She had never lost a match. Sigh, for such an outstanding student, skipping classes was indeed not a big deal. But he still could not tolerate such a good student selflessly tutoring a bad student. Chang Chuanxi gave a call to Lin Yuhsian's mother. In the end, her mother was very supportive of Lin Yuhsian's actions. She even encouraged her daughter, saying that her daughter was responsible and compassionate and was worthy of praise. Chang Chuanxi was completely convinced. He really could not control this Lin Yuhsian. In the end, not only that, the school's new teacher, Teacher Liao, even went to tutor Li Fan in English. He did not understand. What kind of magic did Li Fan, a moronic and bad student, have that made him get 2 such outstanding women to tutor him? Is his family rich? This kid's family is poor, and it was said that the house he lives in is leaky. Is this guy handsome? He's just an ordinary person. Handsome students are a dime a dozen. Moreover, I'm not bad looking. Chang Chuanxi felt that his brain might not be able to handle it. He came to supervise today because he wanted to see what was different about this Li Fan. Could it be that he has two dicks? Li Fan was answering the questions when he felt that Chang Chuanxi's eyes were almost glued to his body. This Chang Chuanxi, he usually looks at me through the door slit. I am afraid that he is thinking of ways to get rid of me now. Li Fan could not be bothered with this guy and continued to answer. In the end, when it came to the essay, he hesitated for a moment. The essay's topic was about the outstanding teachers around me. Teacher Chang, I have a question. Li Fan immediately raised his hand. Chang Chuanxi frowned. What is this guy trying to do now? Teacher Chang, this essay is seriously out of touch with reality. I don't know how to write it. Li Fan answered with conviction. Chang Chuanxi looked at the essay's topic, and his nose almost became crooked from anger. If you don't know how to write, then leave it blank. Oh, then I will write a novel. After all, it is 60 marks. AI, there is no other way. In number 2 high, the basic skill to learn is to lie with one's eyes wide open. Chang Chuanxi wanted to vomit blood. This Li Fan is really too infuriating. Next time when he is hospitalized, I will not come. If I come to supervise, the invigilator fee is not even enough to buy a quick-effect heart reliever pill. There seemed to be a slight buzzing sound in his ears. What situation is this? That Lu Quan really jumped off the building? As the saying goes, good news doesn't go out, but bad news travels 1,000 miles. In just a few minutes, the news of a student jumping off the building spread throughout the school. Especially the ambulances and police cars were all parked in the school grounds. This made the students feel that the school was covered with a layer of oppression. This matter is very serious. It must be dealt with seriously. The headmaster sat in his office, smoking an endless cigarette. The few hairs he had seemed to be falling off less. Dean Chang, do you know how to deal with this? The principal asked his right-hand man. I understand, principal, Chang Chuanxi said. The school only gave a suggestion to expel him. It was Lu Quan who is too introverted. He misunderstood the school's intention and chose the wrong method. Very well. Go and do it. The city is currently evaluating the school. The school will be competing for the Provincial Excellent School. At this juncture, there must be no mistakes. Do you understand? I understand. Chapter 269. The incident at number 2 private high school had caused quite a stir in City. City A wasn't particularly big, nor was it particularly small. Some small matters couldn't be spread around, but someone jumping off a building wasn't a small matter in City A. Especially for a famous school like number 2 private high school, a student jumping off a building was even more shocking. Not only was it on the news, but it was also being circulated in WeChat moments. Especially before Lu Quan jumped off the building, he left behind a suicide note. The content of the note was very simple. Mom and Dad, I'm sorry, your son can't be filial to you. I hate this materialistic world. I hate the teachers and principal of number 2 private high school. I hope that in my next life, I can be an outstanding child to repay you. A simple suicide note, but it seemed to be full of blood and tears. One of Lu Quan's parents was sick, and the other was fighting a lawsuit every day. But the school claimed that Lu Quan's suicide was his own action. The school only expelled him based on his grades, and didn't force him to drop out. Moreover, number 2 private high school even held a school meeting to warn the students to be responsible for their words and actions, to be strong, and not to follow in Lu Quan's footsteps. All the students of the school were gathered in the hall, including Li Fan, who was still talking to Bai Lin Luo. This matter is clearly the school's fault. Li Fan was a little unhappy. Why did they have to use this high-pressure policy? Now, they forced him to his death, and they still want to shirk the responsibility. Right now is the critical time for the evaluation. The school will not admit their mistake. Little Four pushed his glasses and said, Didn't you see? There are people from the Ministry of Education around, and even some reporters. Now is the time for the school to show their attitude. I'm afraid today's meeting will be very unpleasant. Long before the meeting, Chang Chuanxi had already given instructions to the students in class. If anyone dared to speak carelessly, they would be given a demerit. In number 2 private high school, 2 demerits would cause one to be expelled. The principal and some school leaders slowly walked to the podium, and the students below also quieted down. Li Fan stood among the students, looking at the principal who had lost a lot of his hair. He really wanted to know what kind of flowery words he would say. Dear students, I'm sorry to meet you under such circumstances. The principal sat there with a solemn expression on his face. I believe that everyone has just received such unfortunate news. Lu Quan from our second-year class 6 couldn't bear the weakness in his heart and left us forever in a painful way. As the principal spoke, he took out a handkerchief and wiped his dry eyes, looking like he was wiping away tears. After I heard the news, I didn't sleep well for a few days, and I was very sad. Although Lu Quan has been expelled from the school, in my heart, he will always be a student of our second middle school. Li Fan couldn't help but sneer in his heart. He really didn't expect the principal to have such good acting skills. With her acting skills, it shouldn't be a problem for her to win an Oscar or something, right? Was he grieving over the departure of his students? Bullshit. He would only grieve for his own future. Maybe I was wrong. I always thought that everyone's mind was already very complete, but I didn't expect that there would still be people with such poor mental endurance. After a meeting with our school's higher-ups, we have decided to add a psychology course in the future. I hope that everyone can communicate with our psychiatrist more and don't leave us in such a sad way. Remember, everyone still has parents and a future. Don't give up your life so easily. All right, I'll stop here. After the principal finished speaking, there was sparse applause. A few teachers stared at the students, and the applause became enthusiastic. But at this moment, a few people knocked open the main door of the hall and staggered in. Murderer. The one who rushed in was Lu Quan's mother. Even though she was sick, she still dragged her sick body over. The moment she entered, she pointed at the principal's nose and started scolding. You murderer. All the reporters' cameras instantly pointed at Lu Quan's mother, and the principal hurriedly ordered the security guards to hold back this agitated mother. This lady, please calm down. We are also very sad about Lu Quan's death, but his death has nothing to do with the school. Nonsense, it's you. You murderer. If you didn't use that kind of shameful policy to expel my son, would he have committed suicide? Lu Quan's mother's face was full of tears. Her tears should have dried up, but at this time, they flowed out uncontrollably. Compared to a few days ago, she had lost a lot of weight, and her whole person was like a skeleton. I want to be here, to hold a memorial for my Quan Quan. Today is the 7th day of his death. As Lu Quan's mother spoke, she placed the candlesticks and other things in the hall. Quan Quan, Mom brought you your favorite drumstick. Quan Quan, Mom misses you so much. All the students in the hall could not help but look, and the reporters kept snapping photos. The principal was anxious, and a few leaders from the Ministry of Education were watching. How could this continue? Quick, ask her to leave. The principal ordered, and Chang Chuanxi hurried forward and together with the security guards, held back Lu Quan's mother. This lady, please leave. We understand your grief, but the school is not responsible. Bullshit. Bullshit. Lu Quan's mother became even more agitated and raised her hand to give Chang Chuanxi a slap. It's not your bullshit high-pressure policy. Is my son going to die? Hearing this, I can't stay silent anymore. The principal frowned and said, the school's high-pressure policy is the result of my decades of hard work. Facts have proven that the high-pressure policy is right, and it is an effective way to improve every student's academic performance. Of course, this survival of the fittest is a bit cruel, but the students who are eliminated every week, we use the method of persuading them to leave. Moreover, these students cannot keep up with our progress, so it is meaningless to force them to stay in number 2 middle school. Choosing a suitable middle school is their only way out. This is the correct education policy. There is nothing wrong with it. Private number 2 middle school is a place that accepts elites. Lu Quan's mother was even more pained, and she covered her face and cried loudly. Lu Quan, this child is too introverted. This is his own personal problem, and it is also the problem of your parents' upbringing. Please don't push the blame of your own problems onto the school. Doing so will only trouble us, and also trouble my students. Principal Hua, do you really think that this policy is correct? A reporter could not help but ask. Of course, the effect is already very obvious, isn't it? The principal proudly said. Our school's overall score has increased by 10%, and my students also like this policy, isn't it? You were only hospitalized for a few days, but Huadahong was hospitalized for a long time. Is this the real reason? I'm afraid the real reason is Huadahong's identity. After all, this student Hua is our principal's son. Once this was said, the crowd was in an uproar. The reporters and people from the Education Bureau started discussing. Li Fan's words were like a bomb. The principal's son was exempted from the school's high-pressure policy and chose a scapegoat? Lu Quan's mother heard this and was even more heartbroken. Murderer! You murderer! Family members, please calm down. Others, please don't make a fuss. The principal's heart was beating fast. This situation made him panic. But he was, after all, experienced and astute. He took a deep breath and calmed his emotions. In this situation, there must be no mistakes. He was a teacher with decades of teaching experience. How could he lose to such a scumbag student? Li Fan, Huadahong has been hospitalized for more than a month. He is seriously out of touch with the curriculum. It's inevitable that his results are lagging behind. His situation is different from yours. In order to improve your results, I've specially arranged for a teacher to tutor you, right? Li Fan clenched his fist. The principal, this old bastard, is really shameless. Teacher Liao was the one who wanted to go, but he said that the school sent him. Humans, you can't be shameless to this extent. You can't be a principal, damn it. However, it was useless for Li Fan to say these words. No one would believe him if he said it without evidence. It was supposed to be a crisis for the principal, but he used one sentence to suppress it. This damn old fox, he's really cunning. Li Fan cursed in his heart. He turned around and looked at Lu Quan's mother, who was crying her heart out. He couldn't help but feel annoyed. If it was any other time, it would be fine if the principal was shameless. But now, because of his shamelessness and selfishness, he caused the death of an innocent student and destroyed a happy family. Even so, he didn't have any remorse. He stubbornly believed that he was not at fault. This kind of power, could it be that he will always be above the students' heads? Now there is already a victim. If this continues, I'm afraid that there will be more and more victims in the future. If I don't stand up, I'm afraid that in the future, private number 2 high school will become a real mourning hall. I'm a student of private number 2 high school. I strongly oppose this so-called high-pressure policy. Li Fan shouted loudly. His true energy vibrated. His voice wasn't loud, but it filled the whole place. We have more than 1,000 people here, but only I dare to stand up and say no to this person? Where's your courage? Where's your voice? Li Fan looked at those indifferent students behind him. Aren't you worried that you'll be the one being expelled? If the one who died today was not Lu Quan, but you? If the one crying here today was not this auntie, but your mother, what would you think? High-pressure policy? Just a high-pressure policy and you all succumb? We are 18 years old this year. We are standing here this year. This year, we are facing a life choice. Tell us loudly, what is your future? Is it this kind of survival where your throat is being choked? Li Fan said loudly, I, Li Fan, am just an ordinary student. But I don't want to be a victim of high-pressure policy. I'm a student. I want to defend my human rights. What about you? Do you choose to die here, or do you choose to rebel with me? If you want to rebel, please stand up bravely and say with me, I oppose this person. I oppose. Bai Lin Luo stood up, raised his right hand and shouted at the principal. Chapter 271. I also object. Another student in the crowd weakly raised his hand. I also object. Some students in 2s and 3s also said, "This is crazy." Chang Chuanxi scolded. "Don't you miss it? Do you want a rebel?" Object. More students came out and raised their right hand at the same time. It seemed that because there were others who stood up, and more people came forward, more and more students also gained courage. Perhaps this is the power of a leader. Why some people can become a leader and some can't. Because some people can forget those obstacles, cut off their means of retreat, and bravely stand up. Li Fan is such a person. His appearance led to more dissatisfied people. For a time, as if wildflowers bloomed all over the hillside, more and more students raised their hands, filling the entire hall. The voice of objection was so powerful that even the glass windows of the great hall were rattled. Crazy. All crazy. All crazy. Chang Chuanxi looked at these students who rebelled together, his eyes somewhat dull. He never thought that the students under his management would one day join hands to resist the school. Shut up. All of you shut up. Seeing so many people rebelling against him, the principal finally couldn't calm down. Both of his hands pressed on the podium. The blue veins on his forehead protruded. The anger in his heart couldn't be controlled, rushing to the top of his head. He had never been so angry. Why did the faces of these students become so twisted, so hateful? They are not students. They are all devils. You bastard students, are you crazy? Are you ungrateful? It's me. It's my gift that allowed you to enter this sacred temple of learning. It's me who meticulously created the high-pressure policy for you, allowing your score to increase so much. If not for me and my private number 2 middle school, can you guys stand here in this school uniform? You will only flow into society and become dregs. Not only are you not grateful to me, but you are also shouting at me. You are lower than pigs and dogs. Quickly apologize to me. Apologize. The principal's crazy look scared the teachers, including the leaders of the Education Bureau. The reporters pointed the camera at the principal, flashing nonstop. What are you filming? You bunch of rats. You only know how to seek novelty. Do you know how much I've sacrificed for this school? Principal Hua, calm down. The old shareholder who trusted the principal the most couldn't help but step forward and persuade him. This guy had already lost his composure. He was probably stimulated by the students. He had really embarrassed the school. He had to regain the school's face. If you don't calm down, I'll have to consider the candidate for the headmaster. Principal candidate? The principal is mine. The principal stretched out his hand and grabbed the old shareholder's collar. Old man, you've taken more than $1 million from me. If you don't let me be the principal, who will? What nonsense are you talking about? The old shareholder's face turned pale. He pushed the principal away and straightened his collar. Did you forget to take your medicine? No one can dismiss me. The principal pointed at Li Fan. Isn't it that rascal? A mere school scum. What's so great about him? Why do I have to put up with him and you useless shareholders? All of you just sit there and wait to collect the money. If not for me increasing the school's enrollment rate, do you think you would be able to earn money? I'm your cash cow. Do you know that? Crazy, you're crazy too. The old shareholder's face was full of cold sweat. These topics were too explosive for the principal to say. If these contents were written by the reporters and reported by the Ministry of Education, it would be terrible. I'm sorry. Our principal has not been well for the past 2 days. He had a high fever today. He might be talking nonsense. The secretary saw the old shareholder's expression and rushed forward to support the principal. At the same time, he was explaining to the media and the Ministry of Education. An eye for an eye. Give me back my son's life. Lu Quan's mother was still crying, and Li Fan led all the students to shout together. Objection! 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 Enough! Enough! All of you, that's enough. The principal's face was red. He roared like a ferocious beast. A bunch of pigs and dogs. How dare you rebel against me? I'm the principal. I want to expel all of you. All of you. Principal Hua, your days as a principal have come to an end, Li Fan said loudly. Although the surrounding voices were like waves, his voice was still clearly transmitted to everyone's ears. This was the power of vital energy. It was like a demonic voice, deafening to the ears. This voice seemed to have awakened the principal. He stood there and looked at Li Fan. His gaze was slightly dazed. What? What did you say? I said that your days as a principal have come to an end. Li Fan pointed at the principal's nose and said, Hua Jingyi, to think that you have this name. From today onwards, the days of you and your precious son being arrogant and despotic are over. What bullshit high-handed policies? Go to hell. We students have our own way of living. We won't be a money-making tool for people like you. What's the point of a school's existence? Is it to train students into machines? And Lu Quan's mother, I know your pain, but please don't cry. Lu Quan's death was caused by Hua Jingyi, but you are also responsible. If you didn't want Lu Quan to become an elite student with high scores, you wouldn't have sent him to such a place. He wouldn't be in such a tragedy today. With that, Li Fan walked up to the podium. None of the surrounding teachers dared to stop him. They seemed to be shocked by the aura that he was emitting. Students, remember, we are free. Other than studying, we still have many things to do when we are 18 years old. Don't waste all of our time on studying. Please release our hobbies. From today onwards, I announce that the high-handed policies will be lifted. All the clubs in the school will be restored. Those so-called weekly exams will also be canceled. Throw away your colored glasses. Let the school treat all students equally. This place is for education, not for exploitation. What right do you have to decide all of this? You are only a student. Chang Chuanxi berated. You are mistaken. I am not the one who decides all of this. Li Fan looked at Chang Chuanxi and raised his hand with a smile. He pointed at the students below. It's us. All of us. Chapter 272. Private Number 2 High School. Hua Jingyi was officially removed from his position as principal. This was indeed a big deal for Number 2 High School. Many shareholders of Number 2 High School were implicated because of Hua Jingyi. Their bribery scandals were exposed. The upper management of Number 2 High School experienced a terrifying upheaval. However, the students didn't care about this at all. They were happy because the high-pressure policy that oppressed them for a long time was finally gone. All kinds of annoying rules were gone. The school changed to a new leader. Other than grades, the students began to develop in an all-round way. The club once again obtained the rights to operate. The weekend classes were also temporarily canceled. For the students, this was an unprecedented victory. After all, the upper management of the school had always been the strong ones, and the students were the weak ones. In the past, the students had to follow whatever the school said. This time they won, and it was a complete victory. Private Number 2 High School also established a Student Autonomy Committee, or simply the Student Council. The Student Council completely replaced the previous Student Council, including the Discipline Committee, which was also abolished by the Student Council. When Li Fan saw Deng Siwei being stripped of her armband, that feeling of astonishment made him feel good in his heart. Students. Li Fan became the first chairman of the Student Autonomy Committee. When he went on stage to give a speech, he only said one sentence. The inhumane hierarchy is finally over. Every school had an invisible hierarchy. All the good students were a cut above the others, and all the bad students were a head lower. But on this day, all of this was over. Li Fan didn't want to rule this school. He didn't have the ability to do so. What he wanted was very simple. He just wanted a normal school, a school that could treat every student fairly. Chang Chuanxi also left Private Number 2 High School dejectedly. The two people who had always claimed that they would kick Li Fan out of the school had left first. From Li Fan's point of view, both of them deserved to be punished. Why do you still look unhappy? After school, Bai Linluo packed his bag and asked Li Fan. Yes, I'm not feeling good. Li Fan leaned on his chair. His face was not looking good. Why? Didn't we obtain the final victory? Bai Linluo looked at Li Fan, puzzled. Why aren't you happy? Because an innocent student died. Li Fan sighed. Why must someone die before someone awakens? All victories are accompanied by blood. Bai Linluo seemed especially cold at this moment. He displayed an indifference that didn't belong to a high school student. As the saying goes, a general success is built on the bones of 10,000 people. It's just one person's death You shouldn't take it to heart. Li Fan suddenly stared at by Lin Luo. His gaze seemed to be able to see through Bai Lin Luo's eyes, causing Bai Lin Luo to feel a chill down his spine. You look like a wretched uncle. Bai Lin Luo subconsciously clutched his chest, earning a supercilious look from Li Fan. Fuck off. I just thought you sounded really panicky just now. Li Fan said, after all, you're just a high school student. How can you say such cold and heartless words? Because I'm your strategist. Bai Lin Luo adjusted his spectacles. I shouldn't have any feelings in the first place. What you said is so childish. Hey, I'm being sincere. Your reaction is too bad. Bai Lin Luo looked quite wronged. Li Fan laughed. Didn't you say that you shouldn't have any feelings? That's when I'm giving you ideas. Bai Lin Luo looked at Li Fan angrily. Usually, this baby is also very willful, okay? Okay. My fault. Li Fan patted Bai Lin Luo's shoulder. Forgive me, military advisor Bai. I don't want to talk to you anymore. I'm going to play chess with Yin Kai. Bai Lin Luo always liked playing chess. Usually, only Guan Wanbao could play with him. Now, there was Yin Kai, and the two of them had the same hobby. The two of them had to play chess several times a day. Li Fan really couldn't figure out what was so fun about playing chess. Why are you so close to Yin Kai recently? Li Fan suddenly asked. Is there any secret deal between the two of you? Nonsense. Bai Lin Luo suddenly became anxious. My heart belongs to the beautiful and generous teacher Liao. No other men or women can get close to me. I'm so loyal. Okay. You're the most loyal. Li Fan felt speechless. He just made a joke, but he didn't expect Bai Lin Luo to be so serious. However, Little Four's seriousness gave Li Fan a headache. The more serious he was, the more he liked Liao Wushuang. If he knew that he had a date with Liao Wushuang, would he go crazy with anger? Actually, if he was angry, it would be easy to solve. If he didn't say anything and chose to stay silent, then it would be really difficult to solve. There was an old saying that went like this. Femme fatale. This saying was most suitable to be used at this time. What should I do? Oh right, I should explain to Liao Wushuang that the previous love letter was not written by me, but by Lin Luo's work. But aren't we just a normal teacher-student relationship? Oh right, during class, it's teacher-student relationship. After class, it's just a friendship. This kind of relationship is very legitimate. As the saying goes, an upright person is not afraid of a crooked shadow. There's no need to make things difficult for me with Bai Lin Luo, right? Maybe I should find a time to introduce Bai Lin Luo and Liao Wushuang to each other? That's right, this is a good idea. Li Fan, you're really too smart. What are you thinking about? Bai Lin Luo looked at the dazed Li Fan and couldn't figure out what he was thinking. I'll go first, you be careful. You said it like, I don't have the ability to take care of myself. Li Fan curled his lips. What do I have to be careful about? I'm a man. How could I be molested by anyone? If this was said out, it might sound like a chinibyu. Your head is worth a lot of money now. Bai Lin Luo reminded Li Fan, you're a general. You can't be killed so casually. Rest assured, the person who can kill me hasn't been born yet. Li Fan gave Bai Lin Luo a reassuring smile. The current him has officially reached the peak of his strength. The strength of 5 dragons is enough to run amok in the world. Although there would still be countless experts, he had the strength to fight them all. From today onwards, he will be a veritable little overlord. Chapter 273. The Little Tyrant Li Fan? Interesting. This person is a hot topic in the Jianghu recently. His head is mine. In the Jianghu, there was a place called Golden Eagle Castle. This Golden Eagle Castle was a place that people in the Jianghu liked to gather at. The castle master was also a famous person called Yin Wuchao, nicknamed Golden Eagle of the Desert. He befriended heroes from all over the world, and many people in the Jianghu came to become his followers. Recently, this Golden Eagle Castle was very lively. In the small square of the Golden Eagle Castle, there was a notice posted. On it was a portrait of a person. It was Li Fan without a doubt. A man wearing a bamboo hat reached out and tore down the notice. Looking at the portrait, he curled his lips. What little tyrant bullshit. Yo, you even dare to tear down little tyrant's notice. What kind of hero are you? A few customers who were chatting in the tea house immediately turned their gazes to this man. I, your father, will never change my name. I am Yin Xiao. That man still had a leaf in his mouth, looking sloppy. I, your father, hate those who don't live up to their name. If I meet them, I will take his head and take his name. My dear brother, your words are quite loud. Which sect are you from? A few customers could not help but ask with a smile. In this Jianghu, there was no lack of people who did not have strength but were ambitious. I, your father, am from the Sichuan Tang sect. As Yin Xiao spoke, he lifted his pocket with one hand and lifted his clothes with the other, revealing a row of darts on his belt. The standard Tang Clan darts were also wearing a Tang Clan jade pendant. The quality was exquisite, and it was expensive. It was obviously not a fake. Ah, Tang sect, a master with a brilliant disciple. Everyone murmured, and they had a higher opinion of Yin Xiao. As the saying goes, a person's reputation is like a tree's shadow. In the Jianghu, those famous heroes naturally had their names spread far and wide. And those who were more influential than them were the famous sects in the Jianghu. After all, a hero could only influence for a few years, a dozen years, or even a few decades. But a sect could influence the Jianghu for hundreds of years. The Tang sect was such a sect. It had many outstanding disciples, and everyone in the Jianghu had to look up to them. Yin Xiao himself was also a proud disciple of the Tang sect. He left the mountain this time to create his own reputation. Brother Yin seems to be a man of striking appearance. Why don't you try the groom search competition? What do you mean by a martial competition for a spouse? Yin Zhao's ears immediately perked up. However, he was a proud and arrogant person. In his heart, he thought, which family's daughter would be worthy of a Tang sect disciple like me? Brother Yin doesn't know about this? The surrounding customers looked at Yin Xiao with some surprise. That's really surprising. This matter has caused quite a stir in the underworld recently. Why don't you tell me? Yin Xiao then sat opposite them. While that tea guest continued, this Golden Eagle Castle's castle master has a daughter as beautiful as a flower. It was said that he was a bit wild and free, giving Castle Master Yin quite a headache. Now that the Fort Master's daughter is in her 20s, Fort Master Yin wants to find a suitable husband to betroth to her and tame her temperament. Oh, there's actually such a thing. When Yin Xiao heard this, he knew that this Golden Eagle Castle was very big. That Castle Master Yin was also a well-known figure in the underworld. If he could marry her daughter, it would also be a wonderful thing. For a young talent like him to marry her, it would be a match made in heaven. Therefore, Castle Master Yin plans to choose a good day to hold a martial competition for a spouse. He will choose the world's heroes to be his son-in-law. Sigh, if it weren't for my low strength, I would also want to give it a try. Forget it. Don't even think about it. Which young talent in the underworld doesn't want to be the son-in-law of the Golden Eagle Castle? With your mediocre martial arts, if you were to go on stage, I'm afraid you would be defeated in 2 or 3 moves. Pei, no matter what, I have practiced martial arts for 2 years. All right, Hero Yin is sitting here. Why don't you go and ask him for some advice? Being called Hero Yin made Yin Zhao's heart burst with joy. Although these people's martial arts were not good, they had good foresight. Calling himself a hero was indeed worthy of the name. Yin Xiao was satisfied, but the tea guest from before slammed the table. All right, I, Gao Mengyu, have practiced the iron thread fist for 2 years. Today, it's time to use it. As he spoke, the tea guest suddenly stood up. With a shake of his arms, his sleeves were immediately shattered, revealing the silver rings wrapped inside. With a knock of his arm, the tea table in front of him broke into 2 halves. However, Yin Xiao did not panic. As he held the teacup and drank tea, his other hand shook and a few Tang darts on his waist disappeared. Dang, dang, dang. 3 Tang darts flew out and pierced through the corner of Gao Mengyu's clothes, nailing him to the wall behind him. This dignified, burly man did not even have the strength to resist the darts. Wonderful. Amazing. Everyone applauded and praised. Gao Mingyu blushed as he pulled out the darts on his clothes and cupped his hands at Yin Xiao. Hero Yin, you have good skills. I admire you. Well said, well said. Hee. Yin Xiao was proud of himself. He took back his tang darts from Gao Mingyu's hands. With a shake of his hand, he neatly put them back into the dart pouch on his waist. As the saying goes, when an expert makes a move, you will know if it is real or not. With just a little bit of his skill, the surrounding people were all convinced. It seems that only a young talent like Hero Yin can pluck the golden flower of the Golden Eagle Castle. Aya, Hero Yin has such good skills. In the Jianghu, how many people can compare to him? As the surrounding people discussed, Yin Xiao was proud of himself. He was determined to be the son-in-law of the Golden Eagle Castle. As for the head of the little overlord, Li Fan, he had also taken it. Achoo! Li Fan sneezed loudly and then rubbed his nose. Did you catch a cold? Yao Wushuang, who accompanied him, asked with concern. You have just recovered from a serious illness. I'm afraid your body has not recovered yet, right? I'm not that delicate. Li Fan rubbed his nose and said, Maybe someone is talking about me? You are already a high school student. Why are you still so superstitious? Yao Wushuang gently flicked Li Fan's forehead with her finger. You have to believe in science. Do you understand? Teacher Liao, aren't we going on a date today? Why are we still talking about science? Li Fan rolled his eyes. In his heart, he was still wondering if it was the right decision to go on a date today. Originally, he wanted to explain it to Liao Wushuang when they met. But seeing Liao Wushuang, who was specially dressed today, Li Fan swallowed back his words. At this time, Liao Wushuang was wearing a white French shirt, black trousers, and a pair of beautiful high boots. This set of clothes was very fashionable, and it vividly reflected her devilish figure. Chapter 274. Whether a woman's figure is good or not, sometimes you won't be able to feel it. It is this devilish figure embellished with clothes that is the most attractive to men. At this time, Liao Wushuang has perfectly reached this state. Li Fan has to admit that this woman is really pleasing to the eye. There is a saying that if you often look at beautiful women, you can increase your lifespan. Li Fan doesn't know if this is credible or not, but he now feels that if he looks at Liao Wushuang a few more times, he can indeed live a few more years. The power of a beautiful woman is not to be underestimated. While Li Fan is muttering, Liao Wushuang has taken the initiative to hold Li Fan's arm. This is a very common etiquette in the West, so Liao Wushuang didn't care too much about it. What she didn't know is that her chest is pressing on Li Fan's arm. That amazing softness made Li Fan's heart beat faster. If this goes on, there will be some extreme physical reactions. Didn't I come here to explain to Liao Wushuang? That's right, Li Fan. You can't fall into the trap of a beautiful woman. You have to be honest with me. Teacher Liao. Li Fan was about to explain, but Liao Wushuang excitedly said, This is my first date. Before, I was busy with my studies and never had the chance to enjoy a date. I'm a little excited. Right, Li Fan. What did you want to say to me? Nothing. Li Fan bitterly smiled and said, I don't have any dating experience. Teacher Liao, please be considerate. How could that be? Liao Wushuang looked at Li Fan with some disbelief. Don't you have a lot of girlfriends, our little Casanova? Ahaha. Teacher Liao, what are you talking about? I don't understand. Listening to Liao Wushuang's obvious teasing, Li Fan simply pretended to be stupid. I have always been serious about my relationship and never flirt with girls. Really? Liao Wushuang didn't believe Li Fan's nonsense. That classmate Lin likes you very much? Teacher Liao, that's because you don't understand her. Li Fan immediately explained. This woman is very narcissistic, but also very rational. In her heart, getting into a famous medical school is the most important thing. Other things will never be able to enter her heart. Okay, I take back my previous words. Liao Wushuang shrugged. You're not a Casanova, because you don't understand women at all. Teacher Liao, why are you looking down on me? Li Fan felt that Liao Wushuang, Liao Wushuang's heart. Although he didn't understand girls very well, it wasn't to the point where he didn't understand them at all. Liao to Liao, I li she not. But I say, I not to lead I right. Liao Wushuang waved her hand, leaned against Li Fan's arm, and glanced at her phone. Let's go shopping first, then eat and watch a movie. Isn't it a little cliché? Girls don't want too many surprises. They want romance. Liao Wushuang told Li Fan, as long as the two of us are together and can be safe, it's better than anything else. Romance, surprise, a little bit of these things was enough. Remember, women are different from men. Women like stability. All right, you're the woman. You have the final say. Li Fan muttered to himself, anyway, I'm a man. I like excitement and adventure. All right, then follow me. Don't worry, I won't sell you. Liao Wushuang winked at Li Fan and dragged him to her sports car. Sitting in this fashionable red sports car, Li Fan didn't know why, but he always felt like a gigolo. This feeling was indeed a little uncomfortable. So, Li Fan jumped out of the car and said to Liao Wushuang, Teacher Liao, I'm out on a date today. How can I sit in your car? Ah, then how do you plan to go? Take the bus? Liao Wushuang blinked her eyes and asked curiously. Squeezing the bus. I'm afraid Liao Wushuang has never experienced this before. Li Fan muttered to himself and then patted his chest. Teacher Liao, don't worry. How can I let you squeeze the bus when you're out on a date? I've already prepared a car for you. As long as Teacher Liao doesn't mind, it's fine. Li Fan was a very prideful person. Going out on a date, he indeed forgot to consider the transportation problem. But now that Liao Wushuang had said it, how could he do it? He told Liao Wushuang to calm down and then made a phone call. Hello, driver. I'm at 360 apartment. Come and pick me up. Remember, drive the best car. It must be luxurious and spacious, understand? Looking at Li Fan's serious look, Liao Wushuang felt that it was very funny. She couldn't help but want to laugh, but she held it back. After all, Li Fan was very serious. If she laughed, it would be disrespectful to Li Fan. Teacher Liao, please wait for a moment. The car will be here soon. Li Fan looked domineering on the surface, but he was actually praying in his heart. Huang Lei, you have to work hard and drive a better car. Liao Wushuang wasn't in a hurry. Anyway, the day was still long. She wanted to see what new tricks Li Fan could come up with. About half an hour later, a bus stopped beside Li Fan. Huang Lei opened the window and shouted at Li Fan, Big brother, I got the car you wanted. A luxurious bus with a big seat. I guarantee you'll be satisfied. Li Fan was dumbfounded. Liao Wushuang couldn't help but giggle. Fuck you, Huang Lei, when can you be relied on? Li Fan was on the verge of collapse. What's the matter, big brother? Everything was done according to your instructions. Huang Lei was scolded and was stunned. It's definitely luxurious. This car costs more than 500,000. Also, it's definitely spacious enough to lie down in it. The car vibrations are even more exciting. Fuck off. Don't let me see you again. Li Fan clutched his temple. His head was hurting badly. Fuck me. It seems like even my brain is hurting. What should I do with this clown by my side? Just when Li Fan was depressed, a small electric car drove over. Yin Kai was shouting at Huang Lei. Idiot. Do you think Li Fan can drive that car? You're really a peerless idiot. Yin Kai said as he jumped off his electric car and pushed it to Li Fan. Come, Li Fan, I'll lend you my luxury car. The leather seat is very comfortable. But you have to be careful. Don't scratch my car. When you're done, remember to charge it. Fuck off. The veins on Li Fan's forehead were throbbing. Don't you have any reliable subordinates? Right at this moment, Guan Wenbao also rushed over and started scolding the two of them. You two are giving trouble to my benefactor. Don't worry, my benefactor. I've prepared everything. Guan Wenbao cupped his hands at Li Fan. Li Fan was slightly comforted. Old Guan is still reliable. While speaking, Guan Wenbao raised two fingers and whistled. A strong Fergana horse jumped out from the grass and landed in front of Li Fan. Benefactor, please get on the horse. Chapter 275. As the saying goes, 8 immortals crossed the sea. Li Fan's brothers were each more unreliable than the last. After scolding the 3 of them away, Li Fan obediently got into Liao Wushuang's BMW Z4. It seemed that he was going to be a gigolo. Li Fan followed Liao Wushuang and drove all the way to the commercial center of a city. It could be said that this was the most prosperous place in a city, bustling with people. The 2 of them took a long time to find a parking space. Fortunately, this C4 was small, so they finally found a gap and squeezed it in. Liao Wushuang also took the opportunity to show off her driving skills. When parking the car, she didn't hesitate at all. I didn't expect teacher Liao's parking skills to be so good. What an experienced driver. Li Fan couldn't help but praise. It's okay. I didn't expect parking would be so difficult when I returned to China. Liao Wushuang couldn't help but laugh. They say that everyone in the US has a car, but I feel like there are more cars on the road in China. China has a large population. Li Fan explained, nowadays, cars are not expensive, so more and more families can afford a car. With 30 to 50,000 yuan, they can drive a domestic car. That's true. I think it's better to ride that horse. Liao Wushuang said with some regret, it looks like a good purebred horse. If I could ride it all the way here, it would be very romantic. You don't have to find a place to park, you can just hold it. Imagination is always beautiful. Li Fan curled his lips. What if the horse shit? Just let it hold it. Fuck. How do we communicate? Besides, there are no toilets for horses. Riding a horse on the street will only get detained by the traffic police. Not romantic. Liao Wushuang sighed. When I was in England, I often saw handsome female mounted police officers on the road. You can ride me, female knight. Li Fan swallowed his words. If he said these words, it would be too erotic. He was a good child. He couldn't say things he shouldn't say. Li Fan's rationality saved him once again. Looking at Liao Wushuang in front of him, Li Fan said, there are children on the road. What if the horses scare them? He was really too kind to think of such a reason. You're right. Liao Wushuang nodded. Was I negligent? Or did you think it through? Li Fan, sometimes, I have to learn more from you. Not at all. Teacher Liao, you think too highly of me. Li Fan, on the other hand, blushed. Let's continue our date. I'll enjoy my first time. Liao Wushuang said seriously. Li Fan was evil in every way. These words couldn't help but cause people to have perverted thoughts. Liao Wushuang, this girl, sometimes, she really lacks defense. If I have such a girlfriend, I'll have a lot of benefits every day. What am I thinking? How could I think of something perverted? Li Fan slapped his cheek hard to wake himself up a little. Li Fan, what are you doing? Liao Wushuang was a little surprised to see Li Fan slap his face hard, making a loud sound. Why did this guy hit me for no reason? This is our city's custom. Li Fan laughed dryly and said, it's a kind of encouragement for myself. So that's how it is. What a strange custom. Liao Wushuang nodded. Then why are you encouraging yourself? What's the matter? No. This is my first date, so I'm a bit nervous, so I'm cheering myself on. Li Fan felt that he was telling more and more lies. Oh, I understand. Liao Wushuang suddenly stretched out her hand. Li Fan was not on guard against her, so she immediately patted his cheek. Then, Liao Wushuang slapped his cheek again. I'm cheering for both of us, come on. Li Fan was very regretful. If he knew this would happen, he would have changed this lie to a kiss. Why did he say to slap my cheek? But looking at it this way, there might be an unexpected harvest today. Li Fan's plan was good, but he soon began to regret it. As the saying goes, shopping is a woman's nature, including Liao Wushuang, a woman full of philosophy. Usually, she looked very thoughtful, but when she was on the street, she immediately turned into a little woman. This sportswear is pretty. Liao Wushuang stopped when she reached a sports brand store. What the? Are these shoes made of gold? Li Fan saw a pair of running shoes on the shelf and was shocked by the price. In the past, a pair of Adidas running shoes, the price made Li Fan flinch. But the price of this pair of shoes could buy several pairs of Adidas. Li Fan, come and try on this sportswear. Liao Wushuang pointed at a set of sportswear. This sportswear was red on the top and black on the bottom. It looked very handsome on the model. I don't want it, it's too expensive. Li Fan quickly waved his hand, but the salesperson next to him could see that Liao Wushuang was a rich man. After all, although Liao Wushuang's clothes were simple, all of her clothes were branded. She immediately stepped forward and introduced, "Miss, you really have a good eye. This sportswear is the latest American imitation of nanotechnology products. In addition to good breathability, it is also very strong. To a certain extent, it can't be pulled." With that, she personally demonstrated by pulling the sportswear. The sportswear was pulled very wide, but there were no signs of it being torn. Li Fan also pulled it and found that it was indeed very tough. Wearing such sportswear, even if he were to undergo alien bone changing, he wouldn't be torn, right? Then take it, along with this pair of running shoes. Liao Wushuang took out a gold card and handed it to the salesperson. The salesperson happily took it. "This is not good. It's too expensive for you." Li Fan was very embarrassed. "It's okay. Today is your birthday. Just take it as a birthday gift from your teacher." "Ah, my birthday?" Li Fan came to a sudden realization. So today was his birthday. He had forgotten about it. Usually, it was his mother who reminded him. But this year, his mother had gone on a trip and had probably forgotten about the date. And the one who remembered his birthday was actually Liao Wushuang. This was really unexpected and shocking. "Teacher, remember to give me a gift on your birthday?" Liao Wushuang winked at Li Fan. "Then when is teacher's birthday?" Li Fan quickly asked. "I'm not telling you. You have to check it yourself," Liao Wushuang said and stuffed the sportswear into Li Fan's hands. "Go and try it." Chapter 276. At first, Li Fan didn't understand why Liao Wushuang chose to date today. Originally, it was just an ordinary holiday. But now, Li Fan seemed to understand. This teacher Liao is quite considerate. However, Li Fan was quite touched that someone remembered his birthday. Seeing Li Fan in a brand new sportswear, even Liao Wushuang couldn't help but be a little surprised. This Li Fan, if he were to dress up, he would be quite handsome. After changing into sportswear, coupled with his short hair, he looked more energetic. "What's wrong? Teacher, are you fascinated by my handsome appearance?" Li Fan's mouth hung a somewhat evil smile, which made Liao Wushuang's heart suddenly beat faster. "Go to hell. Who would think that you were handsome? So narcissistic." Liao Wushuang didn't know if it was because she was flustered, but she actually rolled her eyes at Li Fan. This was the first time that Li Fan saw Liao Wushuang roll her eyes, and it was quite charming. Otherwise, why would people say that no matter what you do, appearance is everything? However, after changing into this branded sportswear, Li Fan indeed looked more energetic, and even the salesperson couldn't help but look at Li Fan a few more times. People need clothes, and Buddha needs gold. As Li Fan said, the ancients didn't lie to me. However, there was one more thing that made Li Fan somewhat uncomfortable. Even a teacher he just met remembered that today was his birthday, but his parents didn't even call or send him a message. It was impossible to say that they didn't care about it. The two of them were so crazy that they didn't even care about themselves. "What's wrong?" Liao Wushuang couldn't help but ask when she found that Li Fan was a little lost in thought. "Teacher Liao is so beautiful that I couldn't help but stare at her." Li Fan didn't want to say what was on his mind, so he made up an excuse. "Student Li, it's not right to flirt with a teacher like this." Liao Wushuang's face was a little red, and she reminded Li Fan. "Then, does teacher like being flirted with by me?" Li Fan suddenly asked, causing Liao Wushuang's face to turn even redder, lowering her head and not saying a word. I will also buy 2 sets of clothes for myself. Accompany me for a while." As Liao Wushuang spoke, she quickened her pace and took a few steps forward, as if she was trying to escape. Li Fan grinned and put his hands in his pockets as he followed behind Liao Wushuang. But after taking 2 steps, Liao Wushuang slowed down again. She reached Li Fan's side and held him with both hands again. "What happened? I'm afraid that you might get lost." All right. Ever since Li Fan started practicing martial arts, He had the temperament of a martial artist and seemed to have matured a lot. After a period of training, he had shed his immaturity. From his appearance, it was hard to tell that he was a high school student who hadn't graduated yet. Especially after he started practicing martial arts, he began to grow taller. Even if he didn't undergo the aberration bone swap, he was still close to 1.78 meters tall. Li Fan wanted to rely on himself to grow to 1.8 meters, but he didn't know if he could achieve it. At this time, he and Liao Wushuang were walking on the street, attracting a lot of attention. Although Li Fan now looked very worthy of the audience, and even looked slightly handsome. But because Liao Wushuang was too beautiful, coupled with her devilish figure, it caused a lot of unbalanced eyes to poke Li Fan's body. But Li Fan was quite proud of himself, even enjoying the envious eyes around him. Although the two of them were not in a relationship, but to be able to take such a beautiful Ms. Perfect out shopping, it was really an honor. I like the clothes in this shop. Liao Wushuang walked into a women's clothing shop and chose a few sets of clothes. I'm going to try on these clothes. Don't wander around. Liao Wushuang said to Li Fan, if I don't see you when I come out, you're dead. Teacher, your words are so domineering. Humph, who told you to flirt with me just now? I still haven't forgiven you. Liao Wushuang winked at Li Fan again, then walked into the fitting room next to her. This shop looked very high-end. It should be a place for rich people to spend their money. The surrounding sound system was playing an unknown singer's opera. It was very pleasant to the ear. And Li Fan seemed to smell a faintly discernible fragrance, drilling into his nostrils. Sir, do you need something to drink? The salesperson looked very sweet. She smiled at Li Fan. On the cabinet in front of her, there was a small incense burner. It was unknown what kind of fragrant incense it was burning. No, thank you. Li Fan waved his hand. I'll just casually look around. Based on his experience in the underworld, he would not casually drink things from others. Although he was in the city, Li Fan still remembered this rule in his mind. It has almost become a subconscious reaction. All right, sir. The salesperson smiled at Li Fan. That smile, although very sweet, in Li Fan's eyes, he did not know why, but there was a kind of creepy feeling. This feeling was like a beast sensing some unknown danger. It was like an instinctive reaction. At this moment, the shop's door was suddenly kicked open. More than a dozen people covered their faces, holding machetes in their hands, rushed in from the outside. That's him. Chop him to death. A voice full of anger. The owner of the machete pointed at Li Fan, then pointed at the salesperson next to him. Squat there. It's none of your business. The salesperson had never seen such a scene. She was so scared that she squatted on the ground. Huadahong, it's you. Li Fan had already recognized the owner of this voice. You still dare to look for me. Looks like you don't want your life anymore. Li Fan, don't be arrogant. I already know that you are a so-called martial artist. Huadahong directly admitted his identity. But I've gotten my hands on something to deal with you. You smell it. Doesn't it smell particularly good? That sweet smell became stronger, causing Li Fan to frown. You drugged it? Hee, Li Fan. This is called cartilage powder. It can make you unable to use your true chi for an hour. Huadahong's eyes were full of hatred. Because of you, my father was investigated, and my family's property was confiscated. It's all over. All of this is your fault. Li Fan did not say anything. He silently mobilized the true chi in his body and found out that just like what Huadahong said, he could not use his true chi. Did Huadahong set me up? But even if he can predict that I will enter this shop, where did he get the so-called cartilage powder? Liao Wushuang seemed to still be changing clothes inside, but the situation outside was a bit grim. The soundproofing of the changing room seemed to be quite good. Li Fan also hoped that Liao Wushuang would not come out for the time being. You can't use your true chi. Are you afraid? Huadahong held the machete in his hand. Li Fan, you made our family into this. Today, I will take revenge. Chapter 277. What is this? Is this a date? Li Fan did not expect that a good date would actually provoke a group of fiends. Hua Dahong's furious expression made Li Fan feel that it was funny. You two only have yourselves to blame. You actually want to blame it on me? Ridiculous. Bullshit, without you. We are doing very well. Hua Dahong angrily said. It's because of your appearance that we have to suffer all these sufferings. People like you should go to hell. Ridiculous. This is the first time Li Fan heard such a ridiculous statement. Because of you and your father, an innocent student died. People like you actually say I should go to hell. It's really ridiculous. That was his own suicide. What does it have to do with us? Hua Dahong pointed his machete at Li Fan. Cut the crap. Today, I will send you to hell. With that, he raised his machete and pounced on Li Fan. Hua Dahong is also a person who has practiced some external martial arts. Although it is an overseas martial art, his physical fitness is still very good. His machete is like a tiger chopping a tiger. Li Fan used the strange dragon snake steps and dodged Hua Dahong's machete. Hua Dahong froze for a moment, but Li Fan smiled and said, even if I don't have true qi, the external martial arts that I usually practice will not betray me. With that, Li Fan's right hand mercilessly poked Hua Dahong's ribs. Dragon-crushing hand. This fierce poke caused Hua Dahong to spit out the air in his lungs. He felt his vision turning black. He felt nauseous and dizzy. His legs lost strength, and he directly knelt on the ground. Dragon Emperor Snake. This is the highest form of Li Fan's snake strike. Although Li Fan is unable to use true qi, his external martial arts are still there. His strong physique that he has trained daily is also his best partner. However, after knocking down Hua Dahong, Li Fan found a bigger trouble behind. Different from Hua Dahong, the hatchet men behind him were all experts. They did not have any true qi, but the way they swung their sabers was very ruthless. Each saber went straight for Li Fan's vital points. These people were definitely not ordinary hooligans. They were all trained swordsmen. Li Fan frowned slightly. As he retreated, he muttered to himself, Hua Dahong definitely wouldn't be able to find these experts. It seemed that someone wanted to get rid of him but wanted to push the blame to Hua Dahong. What an idiot. Even after being sold, he still had to count the money. If Li Fan took another 2 steps back, he would almost reach the door of the changing room. No matter what, he couldn't let Liao Wushuang be in danger. Li Fan's eyes flashed. He suddenly took a step forward and lowered his body, brushing past the 2 men's blades and dodging. Then, Li Fan clasped his hands on the heads of the 2 assassins and activated Tiger Strike, pressing down on their heads and smashing them to the ground. Bang, bang. Their heads hit the ground, making a loud sound. If Li Fan still had his true qi, perhaps these 2 men would have been crippled. Another assassin came slashing. Li Fan was half squatting on the ground, looking at the shining broadsword. He directly stretched out his hands and caught the steel broadsword with his bare hands. Li Fan's hands bent and actually broke the steel broadsword. He threw out the tip of the broadsword and stabbed it into the assassin's chest, causing him to fall to the ground in pain. But when Li Fan stood up, his body felt weak and his eyes slightly turned black. Fuck. It seems like the effect of the drug is even more powerful. Ha ha ha. Serves you right. Hua Dahong regained his strength to speak and laughed at Li Fan. This bone-softening powder has a miraculous effect on martial artists. Not only it can suppress your true qi, it can also soften your muscles and bones, making you inferior to ordinary people. Do you think you are invincible just because you know how to fight? Like I said, I will personally see you die today. Hua Dahong's hatred rose to a terrifying level. He hated Li Fan very much. It was because of him that the beautiful life he and his father had ended. Hua Dahong, who was used to being a tyrant in school, could not stand this kind of poor life. Those who used to chase after him and flatter him were all gone, and now they were all bullying him. He hated Li Fan. It was this guy who always went against him and his father. If not for him, his good days would still be long. Since he could not live on anymore, he must see him die. But Li Fan's strength was too strong. Hua Dahong could not beat him in the past. Now that he had become a stray dog, it was even more impossible. Just when Hua Dahong was in extreme pain, a person appeared in front of him and was willing to take revenge. Now it seems that what that person said was not false. Li Fan could not hold on anymore. His death was near. 7 to 8 assassins surrounded Li Fan. All of them raised the broadsword in their hands. Imminent peril. If there was a word to describe this moment, it would probably be this. Li Fan's body suddenly stuck to the ground. With a clap of his hands, he forcefully supported his body and slid out from between a man's legs. Even Han Xian could endure the humiliation of being under someone's crotch, let alone himself. After Li Fan slid out, he grabbed the man's ankle with both hands and suddenly lifted it up. Pa! The assassin fell flat on his face, and even his front teeth flew out. At the same time, Li Fan pressed down on his body and kicked out with both legs, forcing the surrounding assassins to retreat. He used this force to pull himself up and landed on the ground. His eyes stared, scaring the assassins into taking another step back. Although his body was weak, his aura was still there. Hua Dehong wanted to scold him, but he did not dare to do so. Damn it, why do I feel that this person has a heroic aura? What kind of hero is he? He's just a villain. Hua Dehong gripped his long saber tightly and followed the two assassins towards Li Fan. The two assassins arrived in front of Li Fan in the blink of an eye. A long saber had already descended, but Li Fan grabbed the wrist with both hands and blocked the long saber. At the same time, he raised his leg and kicked the man's calf, causing him to fall to the ground and fracture his calf. The other assassin also arrived in front of Li Fan, and the long saber stabbed towards Li Fan's chest. Li Fan leaned to the side, and the long saber brushed past Li Fan's lower abdomen and was passed out. If his clothes were damaged, Li Fan would really die of heartache. Li Fan angrily swung his hand, and his fist was like a pendulum, hitting the assassin's head, causing the assassin to fall on his butt. Hua Dehong also arrived in front of Li Fan. Li Fan did not even make a move and directly shouted, "Scram!" That astonishing aura spread out, scaring Hua Dehong so much that his hair stood on end. The long saber fell to the ground with a clang. Hua Dehong's face was pale, and his legs went weak as he knelt on the ground. An assassin behind him looked at him coldly, thinking, coward. He was the strongest among these assassins, and today, he was going to kill Li Fan and make a great contribution. Chapter 278. These machete men had been accepted into the sect since they were young and had undergone strict training. Although they did not practice martial arts, the training they had received was devilish. Many orphans who had been accepted into the sect could not withstand such powerful training. Some of them were crippled, and some died. Only they were left, the elites of the elites. Their existence was like a swarm of bats, pouncing on the target and tearing the target into pieces. It was supposed to be a perfect mission, but the target had been weakened by drugs. However, he did not expect that he would still be able to defeat many of his companions. However, the machete man was very indifferent. It did not matter to him that his companions had fallen. This time, the credit belonged to him. The machete man looked at Hua Dehong, who had fallen to the ground, with disdain. Then, he leaped forward, waved the machete in his right hand, and slashed at Li Fan's waist. Even Li Fan had to admire them. Although they did not have true chi, the macheteman's machete skills were really beautiful. Especially the person in front of him. The machete in his hand allowed him to perform incisively and vividly. If he was not careful, this machete would kill him for the rest of his life. Li Fan suddenly sucked in his lower abdomen and bounced back with his waist. He brushed past the sword and dodged the macheteman's machete. However, the machete man sneered. His other hand suddenly pulled out a short knife from behind his back and stabbed at Li Fan's heart. No matter how powerful a person was, they had to follow inertia. He had just pulled back his waist, and now he could not move his chest. In this way, this kid was dead for sure. However, to the macheteman's surprise, Li Fan actually jumped on the ground, flipped his whole body, and pressed down on the macheteman's wrist with both hands. The machete man was stunned for a second, and Li Fan smiled at him. Then, with the force of the downward pressure, Li Fan twisted his body in the air, and his right foot followed his body in a circle. Like swinging an axe, his foot chopped at the macheteman's head. Clang! It sounded like a bell, and it made a dull sound. The machete-man directly lay on the ground and fainted. Although Li Fan's body was weak, he had opened the God-connecting meridian and his body had been modified once. Being able to freely control his own body was Li Fan's strongest weapon. In the blink of an eye, these sabermen were all taken down by Li Fan. There's a prickly spot. Retreat. There was a swordsman who seemed to be the leader. The longer this dragged on, the more disadvantageous it would be. This was the downtown area. This mission was basically a failure. He gave the order, and the clear-headed bladesmen immediately dragged their companions away. There was also a bladesman who did not forget to carry Hua Dehong away. This kid was still useful to them, so they couldn't just throw him away like this. This group of people came and left quickly. In the blink of an eye, they had left the shop. These people were very cultured. Even if they came in to fight, they didn't mess up the house. It looked as if no one had ever been here. He really didn't leave any evidence behind and handled it very professionally. At that moment, even Li Fan wanted to train such a group of fighters. However, it was just a thought. After all, this was against the law. He was a good student and would never do anything against the law. The saleswoman was still standing there in a daze, unable to believe what had just happened. "Are you okay?" Out of concern, Li Fan asked her. That beautiful saleswoman finally reacted and looked at Li Fan with a little fear in her eyes. Obviously, she thought that Li Fan was a gangster. "Are you okay?" Li Fan asked again. That saleswoman nodded her head again and again. Her head felt like it was about to break. "Don't worry. I'm not a bad person." Li Fan quickly defended himself. "I'm also a victim. But don't call the police for this matter. Don't think that the police can't solve this matter. Don't worry. I definitely won't call the police. I didn't see anything. I really didn't see anything." The saleswoman shook her head like a rattle drum. She looked at Li Fan with fear in her eyes. "I'm really not a bad person." Li Fan was speechless. Yes, you're a good person. A sincere good person." The saleswoman gave a thumbs up and said in a loud voice, "I really didn't see anything. I'm just a clothes seller. I still have to support my family. Please be merciful and let me go." With that, she opened the cabinet door. "The money is here. Please take whatever you want." "What the?" Li Fan was speechless. At this time, Liao Wushuang finally pushed open the locker room door and walked out. "This set is not bad. Wrap it up for me." She handed the clothes to the saleswoman. The saleswoman quickly said, "As long as it suits you, I'll give it to you. Is there an event in the store today?" Liao Wushuang was a little surprised. Li Fan quickly took out his bank card from his pocket. This was the little money he earned from running the billiard hall. Usually, he was reluctant to spend a dime, so he saved about 30,000 yuan. In any case, Liao Wushuang gave him a set of clothes, so he should return the favor. Really don't want money. Quickly swipe the card." Li Fan glared at the saleswoman. The saleswoman did not dare to hesitate. She quickly took the card and processed the payment for Li Fan. It looked like a simple piece of clothing, but it actually cost Li Fan half of his balance. He almost shed tears of blood. "Damn, are these clothes made of gold? Is this a gift for teacher?" Liao Wushuang took the wrapped clothes and looked at Li Fan. "But if it's your parents' money, teacher will not accept it." "Don't worry, teacher. I earned it myself." Li Fan also wanted to get his money back, but was he still a man? Yin Kai, that stingy person, guaranteed that he would happily get his money back. But for him, he really can't say it out loud. That would be like slapping his own mouth. With tears in his eyes, Li Fan carefully put his bank card back into the pocket of his pants. As the saying goes, it's hard to make money, but easy to spend it. In the blink of an eye, half of the money that he saved for his wife was spent. This bunch of damn profiteers. A few pieces of cloth can be sold at such a high price. He worked hard to escort the goods and risked his life, but he only earned 50,000. Sure enough, to make money, he still has to do business. Li Fan suddenly remembered that when he escorted the goods, He also played the role of a profiteer. What's wrong? What are you thinking about? Are you distressed about the money? After leaving the store, Liao Wushuang saw Li Fan's appearance and could not help but ask. Ah, no. How could Li Fan admit this? Liao Wushuang asked again. Why was that saleswoman so afraid of you? Did you bully her? Damn, I'm being wronged. Li Fan felt that he was wronged more than Do Yi. He quickly explained. How could that be possible? I'm just an honest high school student. How could I bully others? Even if I want to bully her, I can't. My true chi has not recovered yet. Li Fan suddenly muttered. What if a martial artist comes to find trouble with me? Just as he thought of this, a loud shout came from the front. Chapter 279. Hey, is that kid the little overlord, Li Fan? This shout was full of confidence. It was obviously the shout of an expert. Li Fan and Liao Wushuang looked forward at the same time and found out that the one who shouted is a young man, with a dignified appearance, wearing a black outfit, like an ancient noble disciple. This is a busy street, surrounded by people. Many people pay attention to this man in black, probably thinking that he is a cosplay actor. This guy, with his hands behind his back, stood in front of Li Fan and Liao Wushuang. Is this your friend? Liao Wushuang can't help but ask. I don't know, probably a psychopath. Li Fan's forehead is full of black lines. I really have a crow's mouth. How can things happen when I don't want it to happen? With my current strength, how can I fight with a martial arts master? I don't even have a bit of true chi. Won't I be torn into pieces? Let's go, I'm hungry. Li Fan pulled Liao Wushuang, wanting to quickly leave here. But the opposite guy obviously doesn't want to let them go, directly reaches out his hand, blocking the two of them. Where do you think you're going? The little overlord is actually a coward. Friend, what are you talking about? I don't understand a word. Li Fan began to play dumb. What little overlord? A game machine? Also, do I know you? Don't play dumb. The opposite man in black loudly said. Although you don't know me, I know you. Little overlord, Li Fan, your reputation in Jianghu is nothing but a false reputation. If I'm right, you're just fishing for fame. Today, I'll take care of you and take away your reputation. Did you forget to take your medicine? Li Fan wondered where this madman came from. What Jianghu? What false reputation? You're making me confused. If you don't leave, I'll call the police. You're not the little overlord, Li Fan. The black-robed man flicked his feet and suddenly appeared in front of Li Fan, startling Liao Wushuang who was next to him. He reached out and grabbed Li Fan's shoulder. His frown deepened. You really don't have any zhenqi. Did I mistake you for someone else? As the black-robed man muttered, Li Fan took the opportunity to hold Liao Wushuang's hand. Teacher Liao, this might be a lunatic. Let's go. Oh, okay. Liao Wushuang didn't know what was going on, but she was dragged away by Li Fan. The two of them were about to find a place to eat, but just as they turned a corner, there was a sudden gust of wind above their heads. Li Fan looked up and saw the black-clothed man leaping over their heads, somersaulting in the air and blocking their way. In the downtown area, at the entrance of a hot pot restaurant, a man in black did a somersault, attracting the attention of many people. Mom, that person can fly. Fuck. Honey, come out and see a flying man. Is this a movie? Where's the camera? The surrounding passers-by came to watch, and Liao Wushuang was also stunned. He just flew over our heads? Teacher Liao, how about we play a game? Li Fan tried to say, let's play a game with our eyes closed. Whoever opens their eyes first loses, okay? Liao Wushuang rolled her eyes at Li Fan. You're the little overlord, Li Fan. Don't deny it. The black-clothed man pointed a finger at Li Fan with a firm look. You need evidence to speak? How can you be so sure? Li Fan was still making a final effort, but the black-clothed man sneered twice and pulled out his cell phone from his pocket. Your father, deliberately looked it up on the internet. You're the little overlord, Li Fan. I can't be wrong. Fuck. Modern society is killing people. Li Fan was a bit on the verge of collapse. while Liao Wushuang was somewhat puzzled. Li Fan, what exactly is this little overlord? Do the outsiders now know that you're the tyrant of second high school? No. Teacher Liao, it's a bit complicated. This beautiful lady. You are so delicate and beautiful, just like a fairy. The black-clothed man's eyes suddenly fell on Liao Wushuang, and his eyes immediately became affectionate. After all, seeing a peerless beauty like Liao Wushuang, there was almost no man who could not be moved. A passionate man like the black-clothed man was even more so. He was a proud son of heaven since he was a child, and after he grew up, he was surrounded by many beautiful women. In his eyes, any woman would be tempted by him. A beautiful woman like you. Only I can have it. The black-clothed man said with a smile. I, Yin Xiao, am a Tang sect expert, with superb skills and looks like Pan, and congratulations. Woman, you're qualified to be my woman? You're right. Liao Wushuang turned to Li Fan and said, he might have really forgotten to take his medicine. Are you two deliberately fooling me? Yin Xiao was furious, thinking that there was actually a woman who did not like him. This was really unforgivable. I get it. Yin Xiao suddenly thought of something and said, you probably only see a hypocritical man like Li Fan. You don't understand what a real master is. Rest assured, beautiful lady, now I'll let you know what a real master is. With that, Yin Xiao reached out his hand and touched his waist. On his waist hung a dart bag, which was filled with Tang sect's darts. Kill. 3 darts went straight to Li Fan, while Liao Wushuang was behind Li Fan. Although he could not use his true qi, his unique eyesight was still there. He could dodge these 3 darts. However, if he dodged, Liao Wushuang behind him would definitely be in danger. Li Fan immediately raised his arm and used his arm to block these 3 Tang darts. Puff, puff, puff. These 3 Tang darts sank into Li Fan's arm and got stuck in the bone. Hee, sure enough, it's just a false reputation. Seeing that Li Fan could not even dodge his darts, Yin Xiao immediately sneered. With this kind of showy but impractical strength, you actually dare to create false reputation in Jianghu. Today, I, Yin Xiao, will take your head. Li Fan, are you okay? You're injured. Liao Wushuang was dumbfounded. Everything in front of her was a bit beyond her common sense. You idiot. Li Fan directly cursed at Yin Xiao. Are you retarded? There are ordinary people behind me. You actually threw darts. It's you who is too trash. Yin Xiao coldly snorted, without any strength. You dare to call yourself a little overlord. Ridiculous. Really ridiculous. Today, let me, the elite of Tang sect, condescend to beat you. This so-called little overlord. I'll turn you into a little bastard. Don't fight. Fighting won't do. Liao Wushuang still tried to dissuade him, but Yin Xiao had already thrown 2 Tang darts. These 2 Tang darts were very vicious. They went straight for Li Fan's eyes. If they hit, Li Fan would have to bid farewell to the light forever. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.